Alright, hey guys, Zomb Phox here, and today it is of course time for the second game we are streaming this weekend. It is the DC Defenders versus the Michigan Panthers. Now, this is a huge matchup, obviously. This is a matchup between two teams who, let's just say, need this win to kind of stay relevant in a sense, right? The DC Defenders, even if they lose, they're still in the playoffs, but this is a win where if they win this, it all but guarantees them a playoff spot. Not fully, but it makes it very hard for them to actually miss the playoffs, as they'll pretty much need like 1 or 2 wins and they will get into the playoffs. As for Michigan, they need this win because of the fact that because of the fact that Houston ended up winning. The fact that Houston ended up winning provides a bit of a scare to them because now they kind of know they have to get this W. So, pretty big deal in that sense, right? I'm just quickly looking over some stuff. I just saw they added, the new weekly, the new game dated moments for the UFL, but sadly they did not add any Panthers ones. They just added the Isaiah Henny one, which is a really cool one, obviously. So they had the Isaiah Henny one and the Max Duggan one. I'm not gonna cop one of those, but yeah, I'm in the front row. Nice. I saw you post on Twitter that you got tickets for the game. That hopefully you guys get the W and hopefully get some good people there. I mean, Michigan's been really great in attendance. We all know that, but this game, it's a big deal. They need to get this W for sure. Man, the fact that the guy that fell at, was it Pirates Park or PNC Park is like a big story is kind of shocking, honestly. Like, if you saw the clip, you know why I'm saying that, but yeah. I gave 7 tickets away. That's actually insane. 7 tickets away. That's a massive W Panthers fan right there. Sub Colin, sorry, Zomb Phox, go Defenders. Hey, you know what? No matter what, this is one of those games I win. Either the team I think is going to wins, which is, DC, or the team that I want to win gets the W. So, I'm okay either way. You know what I mean? I'm fine either way. Nearing the end of my shift at work, I'll just put you on and listen to the stream. Go Defenders. Hey, if you're a Showboats fan or a Roughnecks fan, you definitely want DC to win. Hell, even if you're a Stallions fan, you want DC to win this. I mean, pretty much the only fans, it's the opposite conference, right? If you're an XFL conference fan and you're not the Defenders, you're hoping that the Panthers get the W, and then vice versa on the USL side. A player sent me 12. Now, that's actually what you love to see. That is sick. I mean, I don't know if you mind sharing or if they don't want to share, but man, that is a W player, whoever did that. Again, this game, it's a big one. So the standings after what happened yesterday with the Roughnecks pulling off the W against Memphis in a very close game, they are at 3-3. Now, Michigan and Birmingham will potentially join them at 3-3 if they lose, or they'll be above them at 4-2. So that's why those two teams need to get some W's. Now, I believe due to the way that the tiebreakers work, I don't remember exactly who gets the edge overall since they have the same divisional record, because I don't believe they've played each other yet. Let me confirm that real quick, because I honestly don't remember off the top of my head. I believe Houston has, right? Yeah, Houston lost to Birmingham, so Birmingham will be ahead of Houston in the standings. As for Michigan, I believe it would go to strength of record at that point. And with a loss here, that would mean they lost to DC, St. Louis, and Birmingham, whereas Houston would have lost to St. Louis, Arlington, and Birmingham. So I believe Michigan, pending how this works out, it would still be the same playoffs, like if it ended today. But, we'll see. So, if you're a Roughnecks fan, you are hoping for a DC win, same with the Stallions, but you never know. It was Brian Dooley. I imagine since he's inactive, that's why he sent them. W. Brian Dooley. That's what you love to see from a player. I know, since we're talking about inactive players, I guess it's actually a good way to kind of transition into it. It is a great thing that we are finally seeing Cam Carter play. It has been insanely aggravating seeing us decide to trade away one of our 2 top receivers to then get a player that we have not played until now, which ironically is when Marcus Sims is out, inactive for his team, which I think is hilarious, but, is what it is. So, we'll see how it goes. This is going to be a good matchup. This is an important matchup, obviously, and we'll see what ends up happening. I mean, there's not too much to say about it. It's a big matchup. That's about it. Big win for the Roughnecks. That was a huge one. I mean, I expected that game to be a close one. So far, this week's been one of my better weeks so far. 2 of 2 games. I am 4 of 6 in overall game picks. This one, I expected the Showboats to win, but they ended up losing by 1 point. It was an insanely close game. EJ Perry came in for that little bit, didn't really do much. Obviously, in the little injury time he came in because of Wynn getting hurt. McClendon still had a very solid game. It wasn't like he lit up the world, but he played like exactly how we all expect Jalen McClendon to play. Very solid, not going to be the most insane player, but he's going to be an efficient passer, and overall just play very solidly, which is exactly what happened. And that's why they won the game, because they had a quarterback that wasn't turning the ball over every 2 plays or every 2 drives like they've had in the past. Finished 20 of 28 for 149, 1 TD, 0 interceptions. That's not an incredible stat line, right? That is far under 10 yards per completion. But it's efficient, and in this league, this season, that's pretty damn solid. Dresser Wynn had the 1 interception he threw. He did break the 10, yards per completion, but he did have about like 6-7% less completion percentage. Wes Hills, though, man, if you're a Showboats fan, it's a shame because at this point of the season, it's a little too late. Like, it's too little too late. But Wes Hills, man, in the 1 game he's played, and he already looks better than like 90% of the running backs in the league, which is sad but true. So, you got that. How many series do you think Etling will get? Nolan says he's only riding with 1 quarterback in this game. So, hopefully that's true. Because if it's true, then 0. But I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's what's going to happen. I hope it ends up being true, but we've seen him say that before, and... Well, I haven't seen him say it before, but, like the last game against the Battlehawks, so yeah. How confident are you in the Panthers winning? I'm not super confident because of the fact that DC is, like I said about week 2, that DC felt like they were San Antonio from last year, and week in, or week out, it makes me more confident of that. Objectively speaking, DC is not an incredible team, but neither was San Antonio last year. But when you get a couple of wins early on, you build some momentum. You use that momentum and what you are strong at, which for DC, they have an incredible defense. Their offense is hilarious, but their defense is incredible. They have had 1 poor game as a defense, and even then they weren't that bad, and that was against Arlington. It was one of those games where, like, yes, the final score was high, but defenses did play decent overall. I think DC wins. Would I be shocked if Michigan gets a W? Not at all. In theory, Michigan should win this game, but I don't think they will. I think that DC is going to get the W. It's like Tisdale's saying, DC is just something else. But, I mean, this season, DC, when you look at their season so far, I'm pulling it up on a little side thing, they allowed the last 2 weeks have been the weakest 2 weeks. They technically didn't really allow 24, obviously, against the Brahmas because they had the return touchdown. So they've allowed less than 20 points as a defense in every game except the one against Arlington. But this is not like we're talking about Arlington's defense. Like, Arlington's defense is carrying their team. DC's defense is just, the better unit on their team. The real question when it comes to DC is, of course, Abram Smith. It sucks that, he got hurt last year, but Wes Hills has played 1 game, and Wes Hills is already, like, way better than Abram Smith this season. It's, like, not even close. Is Roland out? Let me check that one. No, okay, so yeah. Well, yeah, we got Tisdale here. Of course he's going to know, but yeah. But in terms of confident, I'm not, like, I would say the Panthers, I think it's like a 40% chance of them winning. I think that DC's about like a 60% chance. Nolan's got a crush in Etling, sadly, the truth. Because it's one of the things that we're like, in theory, DC should lose because quarterback for quarterback, you have the MVP of the league, and then you have Jordan Teamu. Running back for running back, you have Abram Smith. Basically, anyone else this season is better than Abram Smith. But the issue is, do I trust Michigan's defense or DC's defense? Michigan's defense gets hurt like every week. DC's defense has done enough to win games multiple times, right? They won that game last week because the defense made that stop against Perez in the offense at the end of the game. So, I think DC gets a W. They move up to 5-1. I think they get it done. Who would you pick to fill the head coaching vacancies? It's a tough call. Because it's also a matter of who does, in fact, leave. Because, like, we all expected CJ would get, he would step away or they would mutually part ways with him. But now that they're winning games, and granted it's against Memphis and San Antonio, but now that they're winning, he's probably going to stick around. Nolan and Stoops, do they stay? Holtz, does he stay? All that. like some of the it's a tough call because the coaches, because you always see there's always that coordinator. You'd love to see Jaron Horton get a shot as head coach. You'd like to see Shannon Harris potentially stay, even though he's gonna probably go to Tennessee. Maybe he stays if they do good enough. You never know for sure. Being a head coach versus a lower end assistant is a pretty big deal, right? Because some of these other coaches from the USFL, right, are doing other things. Like Bart Andrus is coaching in Europe right now. So some of those older guys, it's debatable. You would like to see Jim Haslett come back, but at the same token, with what happened with Wisenhunt and Phillips this season, do you really want to bring in another old coach? It's tough. The Defenders, man, what a team! The top 3 receiving core. This DC team is something else. I like to see Blake Williams stick around. Yeah, it's a shame because it's great to see a coach get a legit upgrade. I don't think people understand just how much of a pay raise and an upgrade it is going from UFL to a D1 school. I understand it wasn't a FBS school, but it's a D1 school. But with a head coach leaving and they take their entire staff, it does suck to see. Hopefully, maybe 1 or 2 of these guys stick around. Would I be completely stunned if, let's say, Harris leaves, but then Blake's if I get the head coaching job, I'll stick around? I wouldn't be, right? If you're somebody who's a lower end position guy, just a receivers coach or just a running back coach, and you have the chance to stick around as a head coach, I wouldn't be shocked if you stay. No, don't eye Jeff Fisher, bro. Oh my goodness. That was rough. That year with the Panthers was rough. That really was. DC and Michigan are contenders. Plus the Defenders are fighting. This DC team, man, it's still true when it comes to the number 1 team in power rankings. Since I've been doing power rankings, they're the weakest we've ever seen. They're still the best team in the league, in my opinion. At some point, yes. Is their running game horrid outside of Te'amu the last 2 weeks? Yes, it is abysmal. Is Te'amu a great quarterback? Absolutely not. Is he good enough to get the job done? In this league, in this year? Absolutely. Is this defense really good? Absolutely. Great defense. Is Matt McCrane a great kicker? Yes. Even though he missed a couple of kicks, he is a great kicker. And if you have a great kicker, you have a turnover-prone defense, a takeaway-prone defense like they do, your offense doesn't have to be that good. That's the thing that I tried saying a couple weeks ago. Back when Arlington, right, when DC lost to San Antonio, I was one of the only guys that made Power Rankings content that said DC is still the best team in the league. There were so many people saying Arlington and all that. I stuck with DC because I said that was a super easy upset to call. I thought that was a pretty easy one to call. I thought that it was an upset that San Antonio, it looked to me that they were going to win that game. So it wasn't shocking to me. And then Arlington's win over St. Louis a couple weeks ago was insanely unimpressive, and people acted like it was insane. So I kept DC at 1, and here's the honest truth. If you want DC to win the game, I just have to tweet something bad about the team. Because I tweeted 3 awful things about the team, saying Tamu was awful, this team sucks, or they're overrated. And like clockwork, within about 3 plays, they just scored. You can go back in my feed and you'll see. One of them, I literally said Tamu was so ass. And I kid you not, 2 plays later, he threw a 50-yard bomb or something. It's clockwork. This team is something else. We will see how good each of these defenses are based in this game. Yeah, I mean, even though Te'amu really shouldn't be in the MVP conversation, he is. This is a battle of what most would say are the 2 MVP favorites. Yes, obviously, Ajeen Harris deserves a mention. Deion Kane's been great for the Stallions. But to most people, this is the MVP matchup, is between these 2 guys, Te'amu and Perkins. So you kind of expect it to be a high-scoring game, but there's a reason I honestly predicted this one to be a bit of a lower scoring game. I just have that feeling that despite this one being one that in theory should be a 30 to 35 game, I just think it's going to be a close one. We'll see that ends up happening, and I didn't put the thing on here. Hold up. I'm live for the DC versus Michigan game. There we go. So that's what I would say. I'd say that this should be a close one, but I think it's going to be a lower scoring game than a lot of people expect. I just have that feeling. We'll see if that ends up happening. I mean, I kind of expected yesterday's going to be a higher scoring one. It somehow was. Let's put up the poll on who wins. So let's get DC and Michigan. There's your poll out for that one to vote who you think gets the W on this game. Of course, this game was originally on ESPN2. It got moved to ESPN because of the fact that you had NBA playoff series end up, getting finished, teams getting beat, like the Lakers getting crushed, or the Heat getting crushed, or the Magic getting crushed. NBA playoffs always are not great in the first round. Like, the first round NBA playoffs is so historically bad, like, year in and year out. Like, you had a couple Game 7s, but even the Game 7s, like, man, a couple of those are rough, right? Like, let's see, ESPN Plus, they're going to put on the game, and my computer's freezing again. Let's go. I love when this happens. This is that kind of thing where it's like, I need a second monitor. Like, I don't even know how this works right now, but I do need to get a second monitor, because some of these issues are just having from one monitor, but we'll fix it in the future, you know what I mean? We'll see. Man, I love when this monitor isn't working right. Whew. I do hope this is a good game. I really do. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how close of a game we end up getting, but we'll see. I'm going to go pull this up on my phone real quick, see exactly what's going on. Because it has never done what it's doing right now. View channel. Live. Okay, so it's still going on. Okay, so, yeah, in case you are wondering, I'm just having some technical difficulties real quick with my monitor or something. It's just not showing up. So I'm going to have to probably turn this off for like a second, and then it'll be back on. Okay, then, so hopefully this fixes it, because this is going to be not great. But, we ball. Is what it is kind of deal. All right, there we go. We should be back on. Let's make sure everything's back on right. DC Defenders, Michigan, get that back on. Let's go. Okay, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for that. I don't know what happened, but it just... everything just kind of stopped working in a sense. It was still, OBS was still running. Nothing else was. But we're back, so let's get into this game, which is about to start fully. Right, obviously, you gotta do the early kickoff stuff, but this should be a good game. So, just getting fully set up again. Unmute that. There we go. Oh, dude, as soon as I put on the game, I hear point spread. You can't make this up. Okay, so we got the poll up for who you think ends up winning this game. Crazy the show is can still make the playoffs. I mean, hey, we're just a little bit past half the season, but if they lose next week and a few teams win, it'll be pretty bad. How is Houston winning? I mean, to be fair, right, their wins are Memphis twice and San Antonio. So it's not like they're dominating against, like, these top-tier teams. Like, Memphis is still a much better team than they were last year, but when you look at it in that front, it's like Michigan, right? They have the same record as Michigan when it comes to wins. It's against the teams that are considered the lower-end teams. So take that with a little bit of a grain of salt there in that sense. I'm back. I had to do something on Friday. That's why I wasn't here. That game was something else. Not a incredible game, but it was a fun watch. That was something else for sure, but... this game is in Michigan, obviously, and after this one, it's not a doubleheader directly, but later on at 4 o'clock, there will be the Stallions versus the Brahmas, which, if I'm going to be honest, it feels like that is the single least talked about game of the entire season. I have heard, like, nobody say anything about that game coming up. mainly because, of course, the Brahmas just looked so bad last week, but, like, nobody said a single word about that game tomorrow. So we'll keep the poll for a bit. Don't talk about Renegades. Yeah, I talked a lot about it after the game. That was a rough one, but yeah, you know what? We don't have to talk about it until the Power Rankings video tomorrow, but time for kickoff. The defenders are getting the ball first. They return up to the 20, up to the 25, and he breaks a tackle and gets to about the 34-yard line. Solid return for Roland and the defenders. Decent return right there for sure. Te'amu leading the league in a bunch of random stats. Just throws the ball like 40 times a game. No idea how accurate it is. Just going to grip it and rip it. That's basically what he does. So 1st and 10 for the DC defenders. Let's see what they can do here. Te'amu is in shotgun. Got 2 receivers to his left, 2 to his right, 1 running back with him in the backfield to his left. Motioning RB to the right. Ball is snapped. Hands it off, and it is going to be like just shy of a 2-yard gain. Again, this season, the DC Defenders rushing game, once you eliminate the last 2 weeks with what Te'amu himself has done on the ground, it has been a very weak ground attack. Abram Smith has been the main bell cow back, and he has done virtually nothing all season. And even their backup Jackson hasn't been all that great either. So if they want to win this game, they need to see some improvement on that front. Fake the handoff, quick little screen pass to Roland, who gets the first down, and then about 3 more yards. Solid 11-yard gain for Roland right there. Good play for him. And that's another thing with this team. Te'amu, most of the time, is just straight up ripping this ball downfield. He has been the single most inaccurate quarterback in the league, but because of how turnover-prone or turnover-frantic this defense is, they're able to get a lot of opportunities, and with how Te'amu plays, it's a lot like Jameis Winston in the NFL. He will get you 300 yards with a sub-50 completion percentage and 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Quick little screen pass to Jackson, who gets about a 4-yard gain. There is a flag on the field. This flag could be an offensive lineman downfield before the play is thrown or something else. Yep, holding on the offense. Kind of looks like there are more people in the stands. Yeah, the Roughnecks game yesterday was a rough one in terms of the stands. I'll talk about that in the week review and potentially another video later on. But that was a rough game. If you watch that game, the announced attendance was like 4K. It was the single worst in the year, and it was like significantly worse than that. It was literally like 500 people in the stands. But this game, I mean, Michigan's been great in attendance this season. This season. It's been incredible. And I wouldn't be too shocked they continue that today. So let's see what they do here on 1st and 20. Ball is snapped. Fake the handoff. Te'amu looks to the right. He's going to deep throw to the right, and it is overthrown. Classic Te'amu throw right there. What is this game on? This game is currently on ESPN or ESPN Plus. Originally it was scheduled for ESPN2, hence why I said that in the thumbnail. They changed it. I didn't change the thumbnail, but it is on ESPN or ESPN Plus. The attendance was like 4,100 was the announced attendance, which is even worse than Memphis. Like, that is the single worst game in the year and a half of the UFL's history. Roughnecks making Memphis look good. Ain't that something? I can't believe it's true. Jalen McClendon, man, he is a great quarterback. Easily a top 3 quarterback in the league. They hand it off, or they toss it to Jackson, who goes to the right, and he gets about 4.5 yards. Not the greatest play in the world there. You're at 2nd and 20 doing a short little rush. Makes this basically, I wouldn't be shocked to do a basic screen pass here. So we will close the poll. The poll ended with a 60% for DC, 40% for Michigan. Relatively close poll. Not too shocked at that one. This is easily the toughest game of the weekend to call, in my opinion. Because even the Arlington-St. Louis one, at least we kind of saw a bit of a preview back 2 weeks ago with how St. Louis overall outplayed Arlington in that game, but lost because of the beginning and the end. Whereas this game, no one knows who's going to get this W. Te'amu is in shotgun, running back to his left. Fakes the handoff. Throws it directly over the middle. It is going to be caught for a first down. Somewhat close to an interception, but overall one of the better throws you've seen in him this year, or at least in this game so far. Decent throw. Was able to get the first down there. Yeah, the linebacker was like a little bit late. If he would have jumped that route a bit earlier, he would have been able to get an interception there. That was a tight window throw for sure. Michigan should win because Bryce is starting. Well, he's not just he's starting. He started like every game this season, aside from the one. But it's the fact that he's, in theory, playing the whole game. That's what Nolan said, was he's going to be the full-time QB, which, of course, is what cost him against St. Louis. He came in, Etling came in that one drive, and it eventually led to a St. Louis touchdown. Little pitch to Roland, who gets and breaks away for a tackle, and he gets the first down and gets about another 2 yards. Roland broke that tackle, got it. Michigan's defense has not been looking all too good against Chris Roland today. That is the second time Roland has broken a tackle that he should have went down on. So far, Michigan's defense not looking too hot in this game. Good play for Chris Roland once again. Teamu is in shotgun, one man to his left, 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. Ball is snapped, handed off to Jackson, who gets about 4 yards in the carry. Not super shocked to see him getting the load at RB1. Again, Abram Smith, through 5 games, has been, starting running back-wise, probably the weakest running back in the league. So not super shocked to see them using their backup now. Philly Stars, Roland was the GOAT. Classic. Michigan better win. Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. If you're an XFL fan, you're wanting Michigan to win. If you're a USL fan, you want DC to win because it's just how this season's going out. It's pretty wild. Teamu is in shotgun. He's got 3 receivers to his left. Ball is snapped. Looking over to the middle. Throws it. It is caught. First down, and then about 2.5 yards right there. 2.5 yard gain right there for them. And that's still on. That's not supposed to be on. Scroll this down. Turn that down. Sound system. Okay. There we go. Hold up. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. There we go. Something was just wrong there for a second. That was not how it was supposed to go. There we go. Almost an interception there. Bad throw by Talman right there. Please throw an INT. Yeah, not too shocked to see that in chat. Good old Jordan Teamu. What a quarterback. Absolutely wild, but there we go. Go back over here. Turn that on. There we go. 2nd and 10 for the DC defenders here. Let's see what they can do here. Teamu is in shotgun. 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right, or 2 to his right. RB to his right as well. Ball is snapped. Handed off to Jackson, who runs up the middle, and he gets a solid 4-yard gain on the play. Going to be about 3rd and 6 for the DC defenders here in field goal range. Again, one of the biggest issues with this team is very similar to the Arlington Renegades, and that's that they have been very inconsistent in the red zone. This team, they've had a couple of good red zone drives, but they've kicked a lot of field goals, and if you're kicking a lot of field goals, it's usually because you can't finish drives. So let's see if they can get this touchdown here. 2 receivers on each side of the ball. Running back to Teamu, who's right in the backfield with him. Ball is snapped, drops back to throw. Quick throws out to the right. It is going to be caught, but he steps out of bounds before he gets the first down. That is a poor decision right there. So this is now where you have to ask the question, do you take the 3 points? Right, we saw this past game on Friday between the Renegades and Battlehawks that not taking points was a huge issue for both teams. Sometimes you just got to take the 3 points when they're given to you. So let's see what they decide to do here. Looks like they are going to be going for this one. They need to get this because, of course, if you fail this, it's going to look really bad for the defenders. Teamu is in shotgun, ball snap, and it looks like there is going to be a timeout or a flag, delay of game. Movement, yep, 5-yard penalty for the DC defenders. They will not be able to go for it now. Again, that might be a blessing for DC. Again, we saw with St. Louis and Arlington, both teams had opportunities to take points that they chose not to, and that game ended up being, obviously, a super tightly contested game where a field goal would have been a huge help for Arlington or even St. Louis, even though St. Louis still got the W. So if you're DC, this is honestly a pretty good thing that you are able to actually kick this field goal here. Get 3 points on the board. So let's see. Can he make this kick? This is a short kick. He should make this. This should be a freebie. Kick is up. It is blocked. Michigan gets the block on the field goal. We have not really... We've seen a lot of blocked punts this weekend, but we have not seen blocked kicks. That is a massive block for the Panthers, but there is a flag. This will probably be on Michigan jumping offsides. Let's see, though. Defense offsides, one of the calls. Then unnecessary roughness on the defense. So there will be an automatic first down for DC. Bad play of Michigan's defense right there. Man, that is a bad play for the Panthers defense right there. Undisciplined behavior is some of the worst thing you can do here. Yep. Terrible. That's the one thing you see a lot with block kicks, right? If you see a block kick, there is a pretty good chance somebody jumped off sides, and this is what happened here. So DC is going to get an automatic first down. So in theory, they need to score a touchdown. If they don't score a touchdown after getting an automatic first down, that is pretty telling for this DC offense. I would not be shocked to ever see Teamu keeper on one of their first couple of plays. Again, he has been very solid running the ball the past couple of weeks. Would not be shocked if he does something. Michigan Panthers go. That was not that play right there. Not a good one for Michigan. But let's see what they can do here now. First and goal for DC. This should be a free touchdown. Let's see if they can actually cash it in. Yeah, it is another thing, right? This game, and we saw you hate on Jordan every week. Jeez, I mean, am I wrong though? The issue with Jordan Teamu is like he's been great running the ball the last 2 weeks, but when it comes to throwing the ball, like he's just so inaccurate. Like even his deep shots that look good are usually underthrown passes, to where it's like, yes, it's a 40-yard completion, but it should have been a touchdown. The game last week, the throw he made should have cost him the game. That interception that was fully on Teamu, underthrew his rolling by like 6 yards, but he got bailed out. So, yeah. Now they're talking about this right now. For those of you who don't understand, because of the fact that the unnecessary roughness came after after the change of possession, the offsides was accepted. This is 4th and 1 for DC. Let's see if they get it here. They hand it off, and it is going to be stopped. This is what I always talk about. In this scenario, you got the 3 points. Take them. That was not a 4th and 1. That was almost a 4th and 2. Terrible decision by Shannon Harris there. You need to take the points in that scenario. If Arlington had taken the points earlier in that game, they wouldn't have been forced to try and get a touchdown late. Rooting for the Panthers, though I did pick DC to win. Objectively, DC is who I picked to win. Subjectively, I want Michigan to win. But right there, man, that's just not doing what you need to. Sometimes, yes, it's only a field goal. You hate having a drive like that, but this is the opening drive. You ate up a lot of clock. Take the 3 points. Get on the board. Especially with how a game could go. You never know when you're going to be in a game that ends like Arlington St. Louis, where it ends in 12-6, or you get a higher scoring game. So, poor decision there, but is what it is. For sure, Marino did dodge a bullet, because that would have been a terrible look for him right there, but he got lucky. Shannon Harris, easily coach of the year. I would say so. When you look at it this season, Skip doesn't deserve it through 6 weeks. Nolan definitely doesn't deserve it. Party looked good for a week. Sadly, Curtis Johnson is probably second on that list, despite him not really having anything to do with it. But yeah, I would say Shannon Harris right now is coach of the year. Because this team should not have been this good, but he's done a very terrific job despite being the interim coach. Got to give him a lot of credit there. Right, when you see Peyton Party, he had a couple good weeks, then he had a really bad week. If he has a bad week this week, that's only 2-2. Jim Turner, he's done all right, but again, not incredible. Shannon Harris has currently the best team in the league despite being interim. Definitely coach of the year, and I don't even think it's really that close. Again, when Curtis Johnson, unironically, is probably second place, something has gone wrong. But Shannon definitely deserved it. No to that one. I know legally or technically I can without it being taken down. It's morally wrong, and I know we all know a certain other YouTuber that part of the reason his channel got taken down, again, it was a lot of things happened, but part of it was for posting full game replay stuff. So for that reason, yeah. Because, like, the UFL, not the USFL, but the UFL has been great with allowing clips and stuff. They don't really take anything. I think a lot of that's because they know they need to get people to watch and all that. But I don't want to do something like that. That's pretty wrong for the league, especially how it's been. Yeah, I mean, I would like to, but for now, yeah, no. Thank you, though, but just don't want to do something like that. I know that almost happened yesterday because of Fox's thing being the way it is. It's really weird, but Fox is really weird about it. I mean, this game is, DC should have taken the points there. It's a shame they didn't because we saw in that St. Louis versus Arlington game, both teams had a chance to get a field goal and didn't, and the game ended by 6 points, right? If you were St. Louis and you got that field goal, you would have made it, like, impossible for Arlington to really come back. You'd have to score and get 3-point conversion. If you were Arlington, you would have gotten something. Skip is second, or Anthony. Skip, I would say no. I think a lot of issues with the Stallions honestly kind of fall on him. When every time you see on the sideline, it's him having an issue with somebody else, and from things I've heard, I would say no. Becht might be second. That one, I'd give you. That he might be second with how this team's been. Ball is snapped, they hand it off, run to the left, gets to the 10-yard line, and gets tackled maybe about the 15-yard line by Tawa. They're going to call that one initially about a half-yard short. I would say no for Stoops. I would say because of the fact that the same issues are with the team from last year, I think he's ineligible for the award. Nolan's ineligible for the award. Those two coaches have no argument for it, in my opinion. They try to hand it off to Tawa again, but this time they do not get anything and, in fact, lose about 2 yards. Nolan is ineligible because of his decision with the quarterback, and Stoops is ineligible because the biggest issue last year was closing out close games. They failed at that. They have not gotten even remotely better this year. Pretty much every loss this season falls on Stoops above anyone else. So I would say both those coaches are the only two that are truly ineligible for the award. 3rd and 1 for the Panthers. Ball is snapped. They hand it off again, but they get the first down this time. So, nice first down for them. Te'amu has always been a top spring QB. The Bandits would have been in the playoffs. Tali like Te'amu a lot. I wouldn't say that. Like, when you've led the league in interceptions on 2 occasions, like, he's been, like, there's elite, great, and good. He's, like, in between great and good. He's always better than a lot of other quarterbacks, like, this season. You'd rather have Te'amu than, like, 70% of other quarterbacks. But, like, when you compare him to, like, a Bryce Perkins or Martinez last year, it's, like, not even close. Ball is snapped. They hand it off for the 4th straight time and get about a 6-yard gain. Like, Te'amu is a really good to great quarterback, but his problems always hurt him. Like, 2023, when he won XFL Offensive Player of the Year, it wasn't his award. It was his team's award. Abram Smith was much better. Lucky Jackson, incredible receiver. Chris Blair, incredible receiver. Like, he had this elite roster around him, and every other season he hasn't had it, and it showed. 2nd and 4 for the Panthers. I mean, even this season, Chris Rowland's been incredible for DC. He's a huge reason why Town's been as good as he is. Perkins holds on to it, throws the pass, and it's going to be caught. He gets to 35. Another bad tackling segment, this time for the defenders. That's the 3rd instance in this game already. We have seen poor tackling from one of these teams. What should have been just, granted, a big gain ended up becoming a much bigger gain because of a broken tackle. Turner, though, has been really good for the Panthers. He stepped up a lot since Sims got traded, so huge for them. But this season, in terms of quarterbacks, you got Perkins at, like, 1, Te'amu at, like, 2, McClendon 3, then everybody else, I would say, is your quarterback ranking for this season. Ball is snapped, fake the handoff, Perkins looks to the left, throws it, is going to be caught for a first down at about the 50-yard line, exactly about a 12-yard gain. I always thought there was something off about Holtz's attitude. I haven't heard a ton of stuff, but I've heard some things not great about how the season's gone. And with how he's handled the quarterbacks, I've seen it. If Michigan wins, I have to live stream Madden 24, Arizona Bills. I have to be the worst team on Twitch, bro. Roland is the only DC receiver that isn't a bum. I mean, hey, Ty Scott was great. When he went down, I knew it was going to hurt that offense. But, man, Ty Scott was a really solid player, too. It's just a shame he got hurt. Fake the handoff. Pump fake. And he throws to the right. It is going to be caught. And he steps out of bounds. Moore was able to get about like another 10 yards, but wasn't able to because he stepped out of bounds. Hate to see that. Yeah, quarterback this season, you've got like 3 quarterbacks that are good or better. McClendon, Teamu, and Perkins. Everybody else, it's just been like Perez has been solid, so I would say he's with there with McClendon. I forgot about him, but even he hasn't been his usual self. Ball is snapped, handed off in the middle, gets to the 20-yard line, gets the first down, and gets tackled at the 15-yard line. Huge gain for Michigan by Nate McCreary. Like Dresser win through 2 games, he's been solid. Duggan, I need to see more. Like Duggan is so weird. He gave you one horrid game, one really good game, and then one incredibly mediocre game. So I have no idea what to think of Duggan at this point. Like, does Arlington just have his number, or what's the deal? Ball is snapped, handed off to McCreary again, gets to the 10-yard line, gets tackled at about the 8-yard line, big game. Henderson is a very solid quarterback. It is a shame that, because the joke is so true. Houston's quarterback room should have been the opposite. It should have been QB1 Jalen, QB2 Nolan, QB3 the one that shall not be named. But Nolan Henderson definitely can be a solid quarterback. It's the same issue what we see with other guys. He's only got like the one game where he really played in, so it's hard to judge how great he was this season from like the one game he played. Because he did have the one game where he came and didn't do too great. They fake the handoff, throws it to the right. It is going to be about a half-yard shy of a touchdown. Great drive so far. Fully agree with DPS. That is a great drive for them so far. I was so scared when McClendon got the start. And I was like, no, CJ realized he had a good quarterback. Henderson could be a great quarterback on another team. I don't think he's the same to like McClendon. Like McClendon was somebody who was stuck on a really bad Vegas team and then still was solid. Now got his shots very solid. I think that him on DC would be an upgrade, honestly. Just because, well, with Ty Scott, he would be an upgrade. With the receiving core now, they're kind of built for Teamu. They're kind of built for, like, you know, a boom or bust offense. Handed off directly up the middle. Another instance of poor tackling. It is a touchdown for Toa Taua. It is 6-0 Michigan over DC. Like, DC's receiving core now is built for the boom or bust offense. With Ty Scott, you have a very solid, dependable receiver. That offense fits McClendon fully. But with him out, I think Teamu's the perfect quarterback for this DC Defenders team. Because, you know, you have a turnover-prone defense, so boom or bust every drive. I agree with that, Sharkmaker. They do have some good weapons. I mean, people seem to forget that, you know, Isaiah Henney was really good with the Maulers a couple of years ago. Then, of course, Justin Hall is incredible. He didn't play this weekend, but Marcus Sims, great receiver. Kiki Chisholm, another very solid receiver. Fully agree with that one. Fake the handoff. Perkins rolls out to the right. He's going to run it in, and he gets the 1-point conversion. Again, the thing with Michigan, even though normally I hate the going for one, if you're converting it at above a like 70 completion percentage rate or conversion rate, it's kind of the correct decision, as much as I hate to say that. So I've been okay with them going for one. It is 7-0 Michigan over DC. Because like a team like the Roughnecks, they're a great team for McClendon, a guy who is going to just throw the ball accurately, get the ball where it needs to go with receivers who are able to catch passes. That's what makes it such a great, you know, team for them. Whereas DC the last couple of years, their receivers aren't necessarily built for that kind of offense in a lot of ways. They're built for the, you know, go deep, try to catch a 30-yard pass. So it works when your quarterback's Teamu, because even though Teamu's going to underthrow and overthrow passes, when he hits, you're getting a touchdown. You know what I mean? So I've grown to accept that about DC's offense. They are the Jameis Winston, you know, Buccaneers of a couple years ago in this league. Like, every time they do a drive and Teamu's throwing it, it is a touchdown, a horrible interception, or a 3-and-out. It's basically going to be one of those three. You very rarely get what we had that last drive. Especially when you add in a poor running game. Oh, man, that's what makes DC such a fun team to watch. DC is probably the most fun team to watch. It used to be Memphis, and I'd still say they're probably second, but DC is a fun team to watch this season. He would still stay, I would say. To be on the practice squad, I believe you get like some pretty stupid amount of money. Practice squad salary. Yeah, practice squad salary gets like 13-ish K a week, which is obviously a lot more than the UFL. And especially for those you don't know, Jordan Travis, the guy the Jets drafted last year or 2 years ago, ended up retiring. So the one guy he was really competing with for that like QB3 spot was out. Now I know there's been some moves, but if he can stick around in the Jets team, I would imagine he stays. He's already kind of reached the pinnacle of spring football. Like, this isn't like Teamu's a good example. Teamu, who it's like hasn't won the championship, right? Martinez won an MVP and a championship game MVP. It's not like he has really anything else to prove in spring football. So if he can, I think he's like Alex Magoo. If he ends up getting cut and nobody picks him up, I would imagine he comes back. But as long as he has a job, he's going to stay in the NFL. That's what I would say. 1 interception, 2 touchdown, 3 down, 4. I forgot about field goal. That is so true. That I forgot about that. But that's what I'd say about Martinez. If it's all about if he stays. If he's in the NFL, he's going to stay there. But if he gets cut or something, would not be shocked if he returns. CJ's only good coach when a player carries the team. Mark Thompson, Jalen McClendon. 2023 Mark Thompson, man. Really good that year. Had a ton of touchdowns. Finished like 13 touchdowns in like 10 games, and I don't even think he played all 10 or something like that. It was insane. I'm going to turn my fan up. There we go. The family, the infamous family, right? Of course, we talked about in the last stream. His dad was allegedly right behind the Battlehawks fan who got smacked by Samson Nakua, who, of course, did not mention that, but, of course, he is not here. He is suspended for this game, so yeah. At least the conferences are far more competitive. Oh, I mean, this season is so much more competitive. This is the only season that's really rivaled the 24 or 23 USFL season in competitiveness. Because even with Memphis losing, like, at this point, you still have 3 teams in each conference who legitimately could make it. And it's not even like you have one team fully dominating. Like, if DC wins today, and they are, but, like, you could easily see any combination of the 3 teams in each conference make the playoffs. It's what you love to see. If you think about it, 9 TDs in 5 weeks is wild. It is pretty wild. Return is up to the 25, and he gets tackled at about the 27-ish yard line. But, I mean, hey, same token, he is throwing the ball, like, literally 40 times a game. I mean, like, I don't think there's anyone even really close to him when it comes to that stat. Let me try and pull it up on a different site. Passing yards, I mean, technically, like, Perkins is close when you count his, his rushing touchdowns. Attempts per game, Teamu's at 35.4. Dresser and Matt and McClendon are at 30. So he's pretty much first by a decent margin, by like 5 attempts per game. Ball is snapped. Fake the handoff. Teamu runs it, and he gets tackled at the line of scrimmage 0-yard gain. I'm hoping to have 2K passes this year. Yeah, I don't remember for sure. The XFL may have had a couple. I know the USFL in 23 had a couple of guys, but last year I think it was like Jess Perez, right? And he did it by a pretty wide margin. Would be cool to see a couple of guys, especially when you consider that we have had a few quarterbacks be stars the whole season. Perkins, Teamu, Perez have been starters the whole year. Because that's always the biggest issue, right? If you don't start at least 7 games, it's pretty tough to do that. The Panthers get some pressure on Teamu, and they do get the tackle on him, but he gets back to about the 30.5 yard line. So this is going to be a pretty long 3rd down here. It's going to be 3rd and 8 after that play. Perez was by a big gap second. Yeah, that's right, because Teamu was like 18K, and then like Martinez was like 17 something, but then he had like all the rushing yards, which is why he ended up getting MVP. But like Perez, I think, was like about like 2,400, something like insane. 3rd and 8 for the DC defenders here. A little under a minute left in the first quarter. Motioning Roland to the right, ball is snapped, looks to his right. Gonna quick throw it to Roland, who has nobody in front of him, gets a free first down, and gets all the way to a little shy of the 50-yard line. Poor defense by the Michigan Panthers. Roland took advantage of that one right there. Got a huge gain on that 3rd and long. Not a single guy stands there. 2,300 yards. Yeah, that's leading the league by a pretty wide margin. I mean, hey, that's why some people thought he deserved MVP despite being on a losing Renegades team. Because he just had a ton of passing yards and passing touchdowns, and he was efficient. Like, that's what was insane about him. He was, like, efficient. Few interceptions, ton of TDs. Ooh, Tamu with a really poor throw to the tight end is incomplete. Oh, this season, yeah, Corral this season had a couple of good games. Again, he was a lot like Teamu as well. He was one of those guys that was kind of throwing the ball like pretty far downfield, just balling out, but he definitely could have gotten 2K as well. I do agree with that for sure. So the quarter will end 7-0 Michigan over DC. I did expect this to be a lower scoring game, honestly, despite it being the, battle of the MVP quarterbacks. I just had that feeling that it was going to be a close, low scoring game, but we'll see if this keeps going up. Just seeing what's going on in here. What a great, yeah, that is a great job for that Panthers team right there. James Baker saying, I've seen enough, put Danny Etling in. Ain't that the truth? No Danny Etling, I can't believe it. Let me pull this up. 2023 XFL passing leaders. So 2023, you had one quarterback hit 2K yards. That was A.J. McCarron. He hit 2K yards in that season. He only did it in 9 games. 2023 USFL stats. 2023, you had MBT end up having 2,400 yards passing. You had Cookus hit 2,300 basically, and Magoo hit 2,100. Then in 2022, you had, I believe, just Teamu, and even then it was barely, yeah. So, 2023 had 3 2,000-yard passers, and that's because you had 3 guys who were legit starters on their team pretty much the whole year who were all solid quarterbacks. So that is the single best year when it comes to passing stats from quarterbacks when it comes to yardage. Deion Kane 1-on-1 was Crow's bread and butter. I mean, hey, even with Cookus, he's been great. I mean, like, the Deion Kane MVP argument, I think, is there if they keep winning certain ways. Because when you look at how they've done this year, I mean, there's a correlation to him playing and playing well versus the team winning. MBT was the GOAT. That 1 year is gonna be forgotten in spring football lore because of the fact they did get, obliterated by Birmingham in the playoffs. But that Breakers team was a great team, and MBT was a great quarterback. Shame what happened with that team. I mean, man, they just couldn't beat Birmingham. I mean, that's what happened. They just weren't as good as Birmingham. I love this highlight so much. A pure pocket passer in the USFL was awesome. Just old guy coming down from Canada to just have one great season in bail. Love it to see it. I was really hoping MBT and the Breakers made that championship. If the Breakers win that game, they still win the league. Yeah, if they win the championship, I'd say they still, like, that's what I always said. If you won a championship, it's hard to get rid of you, right, in this day and age. So that's ultimately what really killed that team for sure, is the fact they weren't able to get it done. Because, I mean, back-to-back years, they were, to most people, the second best team in the league, and they just couldn't beat Birmingham. And, I mean, really, the only team that's come close, in all honesty, is the Stars. Michigan was really close for a half last year in the playoffs, but of their 6 playoff games, the Stars was the only one that was really that close to beating them. If only we didn't get those injuries. To 20 games, okay, so we're just throwing anything out. It is a shame. I mean, I do think that the max, we talked about before, I think the max amount you can realistically do is like a 12-week regular season, honestly. Because then you can kind of, because the latest you can go is the 4th of July weekend, which is where the USFL went to. That's like the absolute latest you could really have a season end at. So you could add like 2 weeks, maybe like 4, but I think 2 is probably the most. Ball is snapped. Tamu looks to his left, rolling to his left, throws it. It is going to be caught by Chris Rowland, who is just dominating so far in this game. MET threw too much interceptions the second half of the season. I mean, we've seen that a lot, but that team in 2023, right? You had Wes Hills, you had Jay Adams, you had MBT. It was a fun team, but they definitely did fall off in the second half of the season a bit, and then that playoff game just rough. They do go for the rush, and they get the first down. The graphics showed it as 3rd and 3. That was not 3rd and 3. That was a 1-yard difference, but yeah. Well, if you count the playoff weeks, I mean, yeah, it was an upgrade over Slaughter. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Slaughter would have led the league in passing had he not sat in Week 10 in 2022, but even then I was saying that he wasn't incredible. He wasn't that great, but MBT was a massive upgrade over him for sure. Wes Hills ended up being an upgrade over Jordan, right? And you still have great receivers. Sage Surratt was insane in 2023. It was a great team. First and 10 for the defenders. Ball is snapped. Fake the pitch. Teamu rolls out to his right. He's going to throw it over the middle. It's going to be caught at the 30-yard line. Gets to the 30 or 25 to 20. Tackled at about the 19-yard line. So far, this is looking, and we're still early on, but so far, this is looking to be the overall best game Teamu has had when it comes to a consistency standpoint, and pretty solid so far. Ball is snapped, they hand it off, and they immediately get tackled for like a 1-yard gain. Again, Abram Smith this season has just not been doing great at all. Slaughter had 11 interceptions, actually. I just pulled it up. He had 11 interceptions. Teamu had 12 interceptions. He beat Slaughter in that realm. He went 14-12. Jamar and Cookus, Perez that year went 9 for 1. That's insane TD interception ratio right there. Ball is snapped, handed off to Jackson, who gets tackled for like a 2-yard gain. Again, this DC offense for running game is just not good. Teamu so far is 8 of 11 for 100 yards. This is easily his most efficient game passing on the season. But again, this ground attack for DC is just really, really weak. It is the worst ground attack in the league if you eliminate quarterback rushing. Because all of a sudden, Teamu just started to run really well the last 2 weeks. But running back-wise, this is definitely the weakest running back room in the league with how they've played the season. That's why I wouldn't be too shocked if we see some more rushes from Teamu. But there is a timeout called here. Yeah, Slaughter literally went 9-11 for TD to interception. Slaughter was the most Winston QB in spring ever. He was something else. Kyle Slaughter was a quarterback that played football in spring football. That's the best way to put it. Man, this DC ground game is so bad. It really is. Let me pull this up while we're in commercial break for the timeout. 2020... Dude, I'm still used to typing 2024 for everything. It's so sad. But, come on. We were in 2024 for so long. We were in there that year for a whole year. Come on. Excuse me? There we go. Okay, so... rushing yards per game... DC is 5th, though their yards per rush is 3.5. Only Memphis is worse. And Memphis has added Wes Hills, whereas, obviously, the DC defenders have added, well, no one really. Is 2K passing yards equivalent to 4K? Honestly, that's a pretty good comparison. I would say it's a pretty good comparison, because 4K, even with the extra game, I would say might be more like 4,500, arguably. But overall, it's a pretty safe comparison with how spring football is, how fast the games are, how much more time goes by quickly. I would agree that's a pretty good comparison, right? If you hit 2K passing yards, it basically meant that you were a starter for the whole season, or all but 2 games, and you were balling out. Yeah, today is May the 4th, so yeah, 2024 was a year long. I know, bro. It was crazy, bro. We were in 2024 for 365 days, or was it 66? I don't remember if leap year is that year. We were in that year for so long. That's wild. Just got off work. Be back soon. I will drive safe. I'm assuming you're driving back home. Be safe. This game... This is not too shocked at how this game's going. I just had the feeling it was going to be a lower scoring game. Again, we're still not even at halftime yet. We've seen games just pick up a lot of pace in the second one, but yeah. Diabolical work, really. This game, not too shocked at it. Now, of course, in terms of other stuff, right, that happened, the Stars pulled off a monumental comeback over Colorado. Mikko Rantanen scored a hat trick yesterday against the Avalanche, and he scored it all in the third period with less than 6 minutes left. It was insane. The guy that was a great for the Avalanche hit a hat trick to beat them in less than 6 minutes. Insane. The Nuggets just annihilated the Clippers. Bo Nickel got fraud checked by Ritter yesterday in the UFC. And Figueiredo got annihilated. Like, people are talking about he got injured. No, he got annihilated. Yes, it was technically an injury. He got crushed. Like, that wasn't even a fight. It was just one dude annihilating another one. 3rd and 6 for the defenders. Ball is snapped. Looks to his right. Throws it for the end zone shot. It is caught for a touchdown. That is the throw we have been waiting to see Te'amu make. He has not been making throws like that all season, but now that is a great throw. That is easily one of his best throws in the season. Incredible throw. Great catch by Sanders. Amazing pass. Fully agree. Great pass right there. Touchdown, DC, 7-6. Okay, so we're not working Twitter. And let's see what they do here. They are going to be going for 2. Again, really the Panthers are the only team that consistently goes for 1. They are lining up in about 5 wide. Te'amu is by himself. He's got 3 receivers to his right. Motioning Roland there. He's going to have 4 receivers to his right. Looks to his right. Throws it in. That is the Te'amu we don't like to see. That was a overthrown ball. Incomplete. 7-6. Michigan over DC. Showing that throw to Sanders. Again, that was a great throw for sure. I've been playing better than Jordan in Canada with 2,009 yards, 6 TDs to 4 interceptions. Amazing pass, 75 completion percentage. Yeah, Tam has been really good this game. I mean, this is something that we have not seen from him this season. The biggest issue with him is he's been insanely inaccurate this season. He has missed a lot of, not easy throws, but like deep passes where his guy is fully broken away from the defender. He's just missed them. That throw that he made, not the extra point, but the touchdown, was an incredible throw. You basically couldn't have made a better throw there. Now, also, Scotty Scheffler broke the record at the Byron Nelson in the first 3 days. He was a mega favorite heading into Saturday, which if you don't know golf, that is insane. And he has an 8-stroke lead, so he should get his first win of the year. And because I've talked about it before, McIlroy should be. I know the number 1 golfer stuff is weird how they do it, but he should have been viewed as the number 1 golfer. This is the win that Scott needed to get to go back to actually stay there. I'm more accurate than Jordan. Oh, that's you. Okay, I see. I mean, Te'amu, this game, he's been accurate, though. He's been pretty solid this game. He's been very accurate. We'll see if he can continue that. Kick is up. It is going to be returned at about the 20-yard line, or the 10-yard line. Gets to the 20, and gets tackled out of bounds just shy of the 30, about the 27-yard line. Let's see, PGA, Scotty tees off later. Yeah, is at minus 23. He legit could hit minus 30, which would be insane. I mean, hey, he's already done that. He's already hit. I mean, he's averaging over minus 7 a day, which is absurd. So who knows? Let's see what the Panthers can do here. That first drive was an immaculate drive. Just went straight down the field. Barely had any real stops. Let's see if they can do that again. 1st and 10. 2 receivers on both sides of the ball. Perkins has a running back to his left in the backfield with him. Ball is snapped. Fakes the handoff, and he throws a bit of a deep pass to the left. It is going to be incomplete. There is a flag. This will be defensive pass interference. The defender kind of just got stuck in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's one of those instances where it was an underthrown pass. Just kind of got unlucky with where he was. But that is a DPI. Though that one, it's hard to fully blame the defender there. When you see an underthrown pass like that, it's kind of hard to really do something about that. So it's a DPI. It is the correct call, but it's one that's just not... I wouldn't call that on Joseph right there. Yeah, he does not turn around. I get that, but that was still... The pass wasn't the greatest throw. Hurt him. Ended up working out. So, first down for Michigan off the penalty. Perkins in shotgun. Has his tight end to his left. All the other receivers to his right. Running back right behind him. Ball is snapped. Handed off. Going to run right up the middle. Gets about 3 yards on the ground for Tower right there. And we've seen a lot of quarterbacks go down, especially. Quarterback injuries this season have been pretty plentiful, right? Corral going down with injury, right? Manny going down with injury. You know, we've seen Nolan Henderson go down with injury. You've seen a decent amount of injuries just to quarterbacks with other players, Ty Scott, Javin White. It's been pretty rough. Matt Colburn. Ball snapped. Fake the handoff. Perkin quick throws it to the right to the tight end. Hicatini gets the first down. Great play right there. They completely faked out the DC defender. He went right for the guy he thought had the ball and it wasn't. Yeah, Colburn, I mean, you've had a lot of big injuries this season. That's only some of them. I mean, Ty Scott, another one. There's been some rough ones. I mean, last year we had a few. Breland Speaks is another big one. Like, last year, of course, Frank Gidno was, like, one of the biggest injuries, but there's been, like, multiple injuries that are, like, that level of a, whoa, it's a big deal. Perkins is in shotgun, 2 receivers to his right, tight end and his other receiver to his left, RB right to his right in the backfield with him. Ball is snapped, fake the handoff. He stiff arms a man. He needs to throw this ball away or do something with it. He rolls, he throws it. It's going to be caught for a first down, but he doesn't catch it. It's going to be an incomplete pass. That ended up being great, but it didn't work. But there is a flag. Let's see what this flag is. This flag could be either holding or roughing the passer. That's what it's probably going to be. Ineligible player downfield is going to be a 5-yard penalty for Michigan. Now, do note, technically it's not year-round healthcare. It was like a 3-month increase or 4-month. I forgot exactly what it is. Because what it is the players have an option to go with a specific healthcare provider. So they did increase it from the league, but for the league itself, they only provided like an extra 3 months. So I believe it's 7 months out of the year now, or it's 9. I don't remember. It's 7 to 9. I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but they extended their coverage and then added like, hey, you can go to these providers. That was the compromise, right? The league gave a pay raise and gave a decent health care increase, but not like a year-round kind of thing. Like, it sounds like it's year-round health care. It's really not, but it's still an increase, so it's a huge gain for the players. 2nd and 10 for the Panthers. 3 receivers to the right, tight end to the left, RB to the right with Perkins. Ball is snapped. They hand it off, and he gets tackled at the line of scrimmage for a 0-yard gain. They are not necessarily in field goal range. They got to get at least 5 yards here. Again, BT Potter's been one of the more questionable kickers this season. So let's see if they can get some yardage here. That play was definitely one that felt like they were trying to gain some yardage for a field goal, but let's see if they can get it. Going to cross 10 minutes left in this half. Perkins is in shotgun once again. Tawa is to his left in the backfield with him. 2 receivers, or 3 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. DC showing pressure. One of them falls back, but one comes forward. He moves up in the pocket. He's rolling to his right. He's gonna have to run for it. He gets about 4-ish yards there. Not the most gain. Probably still gonna punt it here, but maybe they go for a super long field goal. Wow, there might be some sort of flag here. Somebody might challenge something here. There's a lot of pushing going on between 1 of DC and 73 of the Panthers. Nolan might challenge this. If he challenges this and it works out, he's going to get a free first down for this. That was a pretty late shove by Thompson right there. That could get him a penalty right there if they review that. No, that looked actually... Yeah, on that angle, it actually looked pretty fair. It was about simultaneous. If it's simultaneous, not a flag. So let's see what Michigan decides to do here. They're going to punt it here. I'm not against this. This is the right call. This kicking unit is not one of the top units. This is probably the worst kicking unit in the league, like, field goal kicking. Don't go for the super long kick. Just punt it. Force DC to be down within 20 yards. I like this call by Nolan. As long as it's a good punt, though. Five seconds left. They might take a delay of game here just to move it back 5 yards, make it an easier punt. Yep. They're going to try and take the 5-yard penalty, make it an easier punt for the punter. Of course, when you have to do it like this, it's going to be a tough one. So, again, good decision there. Let's see if DC declines it. Yeah, I mean, it's a correct call there. BT Potter is not a trustworthy kicker in this scenario. Punt the ball, try to give it a good one. So, good call right there. Again, when you're punting here in no man's land, it basically has to be within the 20 or else it's a failed punt. Can't take a touchback here. You kick it up, get a return to like the 5-yard line, tackle within the 15. That's pretty much what you have to do, or else it's going to be considered a bad punt. Now, Shannon Harris, it looks like he did accept the penalty. Weird call by him. Let's see what happens here. Punt is up. Is going to be initially recovered at about the 6-yard line. And they miss a tackle. They get hands on him. He's going to go out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Great punt and great punt coverage for the Panthers. Is going to force DC to start at about the 5-yard line. Blankenship stinks. So we're hating on the Battlehawks here. I mean, Hot Rod has been the best kicker in the league by far, and in terms of spring football history, he's easily climbing his way up to like top 5 status so far. I mean, dude has not missed a kick, and he's been kicking difficult kicks. Yeah, I mean, well, the thing with the Colts is he just wasn't insane. Like, he had that one great year, and then afterwards he was kind of falling off. It's like I've talked about in the past. For how much people talk about quarterback, kicker is a much harder position to actually stay in the NFL. Like, it's so much harder to actually be a good kicker than it is a good quarterback relative to the fact that you only have one kicker on your roster. So if you miss a couple of kicks, you're screwed, right? So, yeah. I mean, you can say that about a lot of kickers, too. We've seen that. I mean, again, his last year in the NFL, he was not great. Rodrigo Blankenship, Pro Football Reference. Hot Rod, let's look at what he's done. College, in college, yeah, he wasn't the super accurate. 80 of 97 is pretty damn tough right there. Like, that's not, like, tough in sense it's not, like, incredible. Great extra point, but college is still really easy. NFL, first year, very solid. 32 of 37, that's a damn good kicker right there. Second year, 87%. That's a pretty far decrease. Then his next year, he only played in the one game. Again, he got hurt as well. Injury issues, so... Like, his overall percentage in the NFL, or 86%, I was looking at the wrong stat. He has an 84 percentage, but the issue is injuries as well. Like, if your kicker is not even healthy, it's, like, a big thing. Because the fact is his stats as a kicker justify him the 1 year he's healthy for sticking around. But if you're not healthy and a kicker, like, the only kickers that stick around injured are the elite kickers. That's the Harrison Butker. That's like the Jake Elliott. If you get hurt as a kicker and you're just a good kicker like Rodrigo, he was a good kicker. Not a great kicker, a good one. You ain't sticking around. I mean, he's not good, otherwise he would be in the NFL. That's not fully true with kicker. Kicker is the one position where that's not really true. Because we've seen kickers get a second chance and they've dominated. Like, that's like saying the Titans kicker, Nick Folk. Nick Folk got cut out of the league and he was in spring football. And that would be saying he wasn't a good kicker. He proved that, it was just one bad time. Kicker and punter is the one position where it is definitely not true that if you're not good, you're not in the NFL. Those are the two positions where that's just not true. Every other position, though, to a point is true. But kicker and punter, if you mess up like one time, you'll never get a second chance. I mean, Younghoe Koo, this past season he was rough. But before that, he got like one little shot with the Chargers, didn't make it. Then he went to the AF, proved he could kick, got to the Falcons, and until this past year, was a top 3 kicker in the league. But I mean, with how if Rodrigo keeps this up, he's going to be back in the NFL. Because I mean, if you're completing 100% of your kicks at 50 yards plus, you're going to stay. But we'll see. Ball is snapped, handed off. It is going to be to the 10-yard line, and he gets to about the 12-yard line. Because especially how kickers were last year. Like, kickers last year were just not great. Like, Justin Tucker was bad last year. Younghoe Koo was bad last year. Like, unironically, like, your 2 ultra-modern spring football kickers were the best 2 kickers in the league, and then you had, like, a couple other good ones. Ball is snapped. They get the first down on that one. He going to double doink one for Chicago. Don't say that. No, we don't want to see another double doink. Oh, don't say that. That is not what we want to see. I saw that moment live, like, on TV. That was insane. Absolutely insane. Like, last year, I'm going to pull this up. Field goal percentage. Okay. Ball is snapped. Handed off. Jackson gets about 7 yards. Very solid carry for them right there. Yeah, looking at field goal percentage last year, you had 10 kickers hit 90%, though the asterisk is 2 of those guys played less than 10 games. In terms of 85 percentage, you had less than 20 guys kick 20% or kick 85%. So if you kick 85%, that's technically above average last year. Te'amu sacked, but he gets the throw off. So it's going to be an incomplete pass. Good throw by Te'amu. That's something we need to see other quarterbacks make, especially the younger guys make. Good throw by Te'amu. Chase McLaughlin has been really good for the Bucs, and as Harley talked about. I mean, Nick Folk for a while has been a great kicker for Tennessee, and it's like nobody talks about him either. I mean, there's definitely a lot of kickers that are like that. Like, you'll end up just seeing one day, like, wow, this dude's leading the league in percentage. It's like, whoa. I mean, JPR was great for the Vikings for the couple of weeks he was there, and, like, nobody talks about it. I mean, even Aubrey, for how incredible he was last year, still didn't have the most, accuracy. But he was still incredible last year. 3rd and 2 for the defenders. Because, I mean, a lot of those misses were because he was kicking like 60-plus yard field goals. And they get the sack. Huge sack for the Panthers by Tafoa. And it's going to be forcing a punt. Yes, Kevin Hogan is starting for the Brahmas. I'm honestly not against it. The fact is, Jarrett Garantano being in the league is astonishing. Hogan only played like the 1.5 drive against the Roughnecks last year and looked capable. So if you're not going to start Mond, I'm fine starting Hogan. But will they hang? It's a tough one to call. Return is at the 40, and he gets immediately tackled twice, breaks, he gets about 2 yards, and he gets to about the 42-yard line. I'm surprised BM wasn't able to get Ahmed or try to get Ahmed. I guess that they want to just try a new kicker because he was there like last year, like you said, but I guess they want to just try something new. I do think the Brahms game is going to be closer than last week. I still think Birmingham wins, but I don't think it's going to be like this super blowout. Like, I think it's going to be like Birmingham wins by a decent margin, but it's not going to be a 25-point difference. Like, I don't see that. There's no way San Antonio plays as bad as they did against Houston. There's just no way. Are they going up at great offense? Well, I mean, Birmingham hasn't been great, but like compared to Houston, there's a better team than Houston to most people. So in theory, they should dominate the Brahmas, but the Brahmas just had a bad week last week. They're not going to play that bad this week. It's going to be a win for Birmingham, but it's not going to be a 20-point win. I would be stunned if it's a 15-point difference. First and 10 for the Panthers. Perkins is in shotgun. 2 receivers on each side of the ball. Running back to his right. Ball is snapped. Handed off. Tawa gets the first down, gets to the 40, and gets to the 35-yard line. My score prediction for this game, I'm going to pull it up, was I predicted the Brahmas score be 24-10. For Birmingham. Now, last week, it was 27-3. I think they hold them to 3 less points than they did Houston, and I think they score 7 more. I think they probably get a touchdown, get like a 1-point conversion, get a field goal, and then that's it. But they're not going to be beat by 20 like they were against Houston. I'd be shocked if that happens. Ball is snapped, handed off, run up the middle, and he gets stopped immediately for about a 1-yard loss. Yeah, that's definitely a nice run for Tao right there. Got a huge gain. Shame that they'll get a big run, go for it again, and sometimes it works, sometimes you get what just happened. I feel bad for Mon. This is why joining a spring team could hurt more than help career. Well, in his case, it was kind of his last shot. Like, when you're a 3rd-round pick like he was, right, and then you only last a year with your team, that's already a huge red flag. Then he got, like, another chance, never played, and, didn't work that well. And, like, if you're an NFL coach or something, you already weren't really planning on getting him. So it's like, this is your last shot, and if you don't play well here, it's the nature of the business. It is sad, but it is what it is. Pass is thrown to Turner, gets hit immediately, but does get back to the line of scrimmage. 0-yard gain. They are going to be playing Andrew Peasley, but they're starting Case Cookus. So they're going to be playing like a 2 QB system, but Cookus starts, and Peasley's going to get some reps, is what Skip Holt said. 3rd and 11. Again, you just can't take a loss here. Now, in this scenario, you will be kicking a field goal, so just don't take any yards lost. Don't throw an interception or a pick 6 like you did a couple weeks ago. 2 receivers on both sides of the ball. Running back to his right. Ball is snapped. Looks over the middle of the field. He gets hit immediately, breaks a couple of tackles, breaks another one. He gets the throw off. It's caught for a first down to the 10, to the 5, touchdown. Horrible tackling by DC right there. That was some of the worst tackling we've seen since those first 2 weeks with those screen passes. Cole Hicatini with the touchdown. Perkins stayed up on his feet, just kept breaking those tackles. Huge gain, or huge touchdown. 13-6, Michigan over DC. Yeah, the Brahmas defense is the worst unit in the league. Like, it's hard to define the worst this season because how close teams have been. Worst defense is San Antonio. They've had, like, one okay game. The rest, they've been allowing over 20 points just with ease. Another reason the NFL is overrated. You expect an NFL guy to tear up this league? Hey, it's like I called it with Wayne Gallman last year. Just because you're a 1,000-yard rusher doesn't mean you're going to outperform a guy who hasn't gotten a shot. And Sailors, man, he was a lot better than Gallman. Gallman wasn't terrible, but Sailors was much better last year. Panthers going for one. They're in shotgun. Ball is snapped, handed off, and they get the 1-point conversion. Well, again, to that point, it's been proven that that's not fully true again. Like, Dondre Tillman was a practice squad guy for, like, a year. Like, sometimes it is a guy never got a shot. Like, if you've been in the NFL for, like, 4 years and then you go to the UFL, it's different. But, like, a lot of guys will get a single practice squad opportunity. They won't do anything with it, and then they're gone. Dondre Tillman and Jalen Redmond both proved that they're NFL players. Because they didn't just play, they were like some of the, especially Tillman, were some of the best players on their team. Yeah, but that's the point. If you're naming, like, you shouldn't be able to name a guy like Dondre Tillman, Jalen Redmond. There was a lot of AAF and XFL guys that ended up making it. Micah Abernathy played some time for the Packers. Like, a lot of these guys are like that. And it's abnormal. I mean, Dondre Tillman was, when he started playing for the Broncos, obviously PS2 was incredible. Tillman was arguably the second best player on the Broncos defense once he started playing. Jalen Redmond was one of the best pass rushers for that Vikings team last year. Like, a lot of it is just being an overall depth guy. Yeah, that's just where it's just like straight up, I hate to say it like this, but that's a bit of ignorance. Because again, in some aspects, like Jay Sternberger, that's a different story. He is a UFL player. If you've been in the NFL for like 3 years as a player, you didn't do a ton, and you're in this league, that's different. He's like that. Perez is like that. Teamu's like that. They're spring football guys. But when you talk about other players, it's not the case. A depth guy. Again, Dondre Tillman's not a depth guy. He was a star for the Broncos when he played. Redmond was great. A depth guy was somebody like Khalil Davis. He was a depth guy for the Texans. He was a rotational piece. That's different. Pass is thrown to Roland. He gets caught, and he gets tackled at about the 20-yard line. Physical. I mean, the UFL is arguably more physical because you can actually hit more. Like, I mean, that's just the truth. Now, granted, you play a lot less games, so in terms of the overall body work, it's a big difference for sure. There's been a lot of cases of NFL going to alternate leagues, not actually tearing it up. Yeah, I mean, you've seen NFL guys that you think would dominate, and then they don't do well in this league. We've seen that a lot where a guy who played well in the NFL, like Wayne Gallman. Wayne Gallman was a 1,000-yard NFL rusher. He came to the UFL. He wasn't even a top 5 running back. Throws a deep throw over the middle. It is going to be almost intercepted. It is an incomplete pass. Going to be 3rd and 10 for them. Well, I mean, nobody's saying that these teams are as good as NFL teams. But when you're saying that there isn't any sort of guys who are NFL talent is just wrong. It's like the whole saying, like, the best UFL team would beat the best college team out of 10 matchups at least 6 times. Because you have guys who are pro-level talent. They're just not starter or second-string talent. Because, like, there's a decent amount of guys who would be practice squad NFL players, which a lot of college guys won't. 3rd and 10 for the defenders. One player to both sides. Teamu in the backfield. Ball is snapped. Looks over the middle of the field. Throws it. It is going to be incomplete. One of those wild throws by Teamu. Again, looked pretty good the first quarter. This second quarter, he's been a lot different in that sense. He's been looking a lot more like the Teamu the last few weeks. 4th and 10 for the defenders. Cavante Turpin, another guy. Because that's the thing. The guys who have made it in the NFL from the UFL are guys who got like a single invite, and that's what happened. They got a single invite, didn't make it, and got screwed over in that sense. And they go here, they get film, prove they can play, NFL team gets them. Punt is blocked. It goes out of bounds about the 34-yard line. Huge for them right there. Like, you're saying they lost a step. If you didn't get a chance, you didn't lose a step, you just didn't get a real shot. If you're like a UDFA, like, very rarely do you see something that happens like the Vikings linebacker Ivan Pace Jr., who was, that linebacker was a UDFA, proved himself, became a starter like that. Now, granted, I watched him play at Cincinnati. I knew that guy had talent. But, like, you have a lot of guys who will get, like, a single offseason, don't make it, and they never get a second shot. That's the point of this league. You get to prove you can do it. Like, Dondre Tillman would not be a Broncos starter if it wasn't for the UFL because he wouldn't have been able to prove that he could play. Now, he came in, had, like, multiple games where he had over a sack and was doing it, like, routinely. Jalen Redmond forced a fumble one game, had another, like, 2 sacks one game, was a great DT, became a starter. It just happens. Ball is snapped. Fake the handoff. Perkins keeps it, runs to the right, gets to the 30, and gets tackled at about the 25-yard line. That might give him the first down, but probably about a yard work. I think Shiloh's going to work out. I really do. I think Shiloh Sanders, because of the fact he didn't have the hype that Shedeur had, was able to see a lot of things. Like, him getting an agent was a big deal. The fact that Shedeur didn't. I think that shows that Shiloh knows better of what to do. So I actually think that Shiloh is going to work out. Like, he has a real shot of working out as a UDFA, because I feel like he has a better understanding of exactly what the league is asking of him because he got that agent. Like, having an agent is a big deal because, like, it is true. There's probably a lot of guys who were talking to Dion and tried to hype up his son to not piss Dion off, but weren't honest with him, whereas Shiloh was getting more honest feedback and probably expected to go undrafted. So I think it's a big thing. PJ Walker, the Panthers, man, it's insane that he was like, before Bryce, he was like the second best quarterback after Cam got hurt, which is insane, but it was true. Yeah, it's something like that when it comes to and whoever were in the USFL. Dude, especially Steve Young. People forget that Steve Young, again, Mike G, don't you dare talk about I wasn't alive. I've seen film and I've seen the stats. Steve Young was not great with the Express. He was good, but he was not great in the USFL. He was never looked that good. Like, he was you would have never expected him to be like a Hall of Fame first ballot quarterback from what he did with the Express. I mean, Herschel Walker, that was a different story. He used up a lot of time with the Generals, but like Steve Young wasn't as insane. Even Doug Flutie was not insane with the Generals. Then he went to the CFL, was great, had a couple of really good years in the NFL. Insane what he was able to pull off, too. So, I mean, yeah. Now, you had a couple guys like Anthony Carter. He was basically as good wherever he went. He was great with the Panthers, great with the Invaders, which basically were the Panthers. Then he was great with the Vikings. Had a few other guys. Gary Clark was solid with the Bulls, then ended up being a borderline Hall of Fame receiver with the Redskins. Some would say he should be in, and yeah. Yeah, I was expecting to hit the... Well, yeah, but yeah, there's been a lot of those guys. Josh Butler was a good one, too. I mean, before he got hurt, Butler had that incredible game, was looking to be a full-time starter kind of guy, and then he got hurt. It was really rough seeing him go down with that injury. Yeah, I don't remember as much about White, because I didn't look up a ton of stuff of the show, but I remember, explicitly the QBs, because, like, Flutie... Like, Jim Kelly was better with the Gamblers. Jim Kelly was insane with that team. But, like... Doug Flutie wasn't insane in, the USFL. Steve Young wasn't insane in the USFL. You would think they would be, considering how good they especially Steve Young, ended up being, but... OG USFL, man, there's so much talent that people don't realize. Like, the Gamblers had, like, almost a full Pro Bowl receiving core. Like, that, 85 season. It's actually wild how many Pro Bowlers they had in that team. That offense would have been a solid NFL offense. Mike Nolan. 2nd and 1 for the Michigan Panthers here. Again, huge for the Panthers so far. 14-6 lead. Let's see what they can do here. If they can get a touch, remember, they also get the ball at half. So if they're able to score here, this game could be borderline over. If they score here and then score after the half, it's going to be a tough hill to climb. But we did see DC pull off the 15-point comeback last week. So never say never when you're talking about this DC Defenders team. And they're at 2nd and 1. The ball is at the 25-yard line. They have to get just about a yard and a half. Nate McCurry is at running back behind Perkins, who was in shotgun. 2 receivers to both sides of the ball. Ball is snapped. Handed off. And he gets tackled at the line of scrimmage. Going to be about 3rd and 1. Again, Michigan, they are in field goal range. Again, like earlier, just get the points. You don't have, if you don't get the first down, you don't get it. Just don't turn the ball over. Don't lose yardage. Cowboys definitely got somebody watching spring football, considering they got 2 pro bowlers from it. They got multiple pro bowlers. They got a few other guys like Josh Butler played well. They definitely have been looking at what to do for sure. Yeah, Jim Kelly, I mean, I made a whole video about his Hall of Fame argument versus somebody like Ken Anderson, but USFL Jim Kelly was something else, and he had a couple of incredible years of the Bills. Ball is snapped, handed off, and they lose 2 yardage. That's not good. Now they're going to have to kick it. This has been the scariest part of this Panthers team is their kicking game. Well, and the coverage game. Basically anything special teams. Well, let's see if they can make this kick. Yeah, I made a whole video a while ago about Jim Kelly comparing him to Ken Anderson. If you use the by error argument, and it's Ken Anderson was better than Jim Kelly. He was. Like, Jim Kelly was great, but the fact that Ken Anderson has never gotten in the Hall of Fame and Jim Kelly got in relatively quickly, you can go watch the video and you'll see what I mean. When you compare the talent they had around them, you compare how well they played in their era, yeah, it's a pretty big deal, but is what it is. 4th and 2, BT Potter, 5-8 kicking, has been the weakest starting kicker in the league. Let's see if he can make this kick. Yeah, either of them, really. I mean, if Anderson won a Super Bowl, he would have been in the Hall of Fame easily if he had won that year and didn't lose to Joe Montana. And then if Jim Kelly won one of the 4 times he went there, he'd definitely be viewed so much differently. Because, I mean, that does hurt when you lose 4 straight Super Bowls. Like, come on. 45-yard field goal. Can BT Potter make this one? Ball snap. Kick is up. It is a good kick. He did make this one. Big for him. Of course, we saw a couple of days ago, we saw Bob Stoops ice his own kicker on accident. That was hilarious. Well, define NFL caliber QB. If the definition is a backup QB, like a QB2, I would say yes. If it's starter, I don't think so. With how quarterbacks are nowadays, you can prove to be a terrible quarterback, and you will be given like 4 opportunities to play. Like, very rarely do you see a Josh Rosen or a Kellen Mond where they just fade into obscurity like that. Usually you have like a Nathan Peterman stick around for a ton of time or something like that. But I would imagine there's going to be at least somebody who gets to be that QB2 that might start because of injury. That's what I would say. In a 5-year time frame, I think one guy comes like that. There's going to be somebody who, you know, was one of those guys who played at a lower-end college, who dominates 1 year, gets a shot in the NFL, gets a break here or there, makes it his QB2, and gets to play a game or 2. That's what I would say. I mean, we've seen that with the XFL, right? Taylor Heineke was a backup in the XFL and ended up being a starter for a while. PJ Walker got to be a starter multiple times. Seen guys from the AAF like John Wolford ended up starting a game. You know, even Bryce Perkins, who again is in the UFL, and this was before he went to the UFL, he did start a game for the Rams, and maybe he gets another shot there. We'll see. Returns up to the 20, the 25, and the 30. DC has 1 minute and 1, and they still have their super challenge, but there is a flag. If this flag is on Michigan, it's going to give them some really good field position here. I'd love to see Adrian Martinez start a game. He did pretty well in the preseason. Will be cool to see again the Jordan Travis retirement and how, you know, the whole Aaron Rodgers thing went down. It'll be interesting to see exactly what the Jets do with their quarterback room, new coaching staff, and all that. It'll be interesting. Penalty on the defenders. This is going to hurt them a bit. Makes this a much harder drive to handle. Again, they were going to get the ball at really solid field position. Now it's going to be a bit worse. Again, they need to score at least a field goal. A field goal makes it 17-19, makes it a 1-score game. So we'll see if they can get it, but that's what they need. They need to get at least a field goal here with Michigan getting the ball at half. Again, they've scored on 3 separate drives this game already. You have to assume they're going to score at least a field goal in their next drive, so get some points on the board, even if it's just 3 points. I know they signed somebody, I believe. Like, I know it's like Tyrod, Justin Fields, that's right. Justin Fields, and then I think Tyrod is number 2, I believe. Because I believe he's still there and he's QB2, but Fields is number 1. Tiamu is in shotgun, 1 man to his left in the backfield, 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. Ball is snapped. Quick throws to the right is going to be caught by Rowland, who gets out of bounds at about a 7.5-yard gain. Again, Chris Rowland has pretty much been the entire offense for this team. This is not even counting that reception, I believe. He has like 5 receptions for 50 yards, and nobody else is even really close to him. He has been having a great game for DC. Ball is snapped. Te'amu looks to his right. Quick throws again. Incomplete pass. Now, if you're Michigan here, this is where it gets scary for DC. Michigan still has 3 timeouts left, so they are very much able to score a field goal or something. Taylor is down for the Panthers. He's getting checked on by the DC staff. But again, at 3rd and 1, DC has to convert this. If they don't convert this, Michigan can call timeout and then get the ball back with about 45 seconds left, 42 seconds left, and 2 timeouts. And remember, the clock stops when you get a first down until the chains are moved. So this could be really good for Michigan if they're able to get the stop on DC. We'll have to see. Again, injury timeout right now. Still going on. Showing the replay there. Arguably should have caught that, had the ball in his hands. Just wasn't able to get it there. I still can't believe BT Potter made the kick. I was so expecting him to miss that kick. But hey, if he makes those kicks, it's going to help. Trending Bryce Perkins. Love to see that. Trending in the U.S. Bryce Perkins. Again, this is his 2nd time trending in some way. So huge for the league right there to see that happen again. Again, he is trending on sports in terms of the top 30. It does not look like he's there yet, but he is trending for sports right now, so that's huge for sure. Again, DC needs to get this first down. Let's see if they can pull this one off. Ball is snapped. Te'amu hands it off. Throws it. It is caught for the first down. Tackled at about the 28-yard line. DPS Alt Football. Dr. Pepper Fun. Hey, thank you so much, DPS Alt Football. Hey, I know it's shocking. I don't have any Dr. Pepper on me today. I know it's actually shocking, but I got my Pepsi Zero or Pepsi Max, whatever that one's called, but thank you, man. I mean, I always got to have my, 3 drinks on me. I used to have, 4 of them back when I was, starting to do this one, but, man, thank you so much for that. Again, massive W for DPS. Thank you for the $20 dono. Sup, G-Man being back from work. DC needs to wake up, that's for sure. That's definitely true. Dr. Pepper. Best soda. Yeah, Dr. Pepper is great. Doc P is unmatched. We love it. Love the Dr. Pepper mention. Ball is snapped. Te'amu looks to his left, throws it. It gets tipped to the line of scrimmage and might be intercepted. They're going to see if they call that on the ground. If that's intercepted, that's going to be almost a free field goal opportunity for Michigan. Look, they're looking at it initially. Let's see if they keep it. Noel might be challenged as Dr. Pepper. I think so. I honestly think Dr. Pepper is better, honestly. Let's see. I couldn't tell from that replay if that hit the ground or not. It probably was. I always forget that you can reply to super chats. I honestly forgot about that feature. I do like when they've updated that. Some of these updates YouTube has done have been pretty bad, but that one, I don't know when they added that, but that was a good one. Ball is snapped. Is a penalty. This is probably going to be false start or something. Yep, false start on the offense. Man, I'm so glad we got a much better game. Yes, this game is so much better than Friday's game. It's a close one. Love to see it being so much better than before. Because that game earlier today was, yesterday, not yesterday, 2 days ago was a rough one. I do wish we kind of streamed yesterday's game between the Showboats and Roughnecks. That was a fun game too. But this one, 3rd and 15 for DC. They still have time to get into field goal range, but we'll see if they can do something. And keep his supply going. Ball is snapped, throw it over the middle, it's caught. Gets to the 30-yard line. That's about it. Speaking of YouTube updates, ads have gotten really invasive on TVs and mobile devices. I watch a lot of YouTube on TV. Mobile devices, I haven't noticed it as much, but TV is rough. It's rough. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, you'll get, like, the back-to-back unskippable ads, and then you'll just, like, it's bad. So far, looking good for the Panthers. Yeah, I'm kind of wishing at this moment I would have picked Michigan to win the game, but, hey, we'll see. But yeah, the ads on TV has been really bad. There's like minute-long stretch of ads. Defenders do have the largest comeback so far. I mean, hey, they came back from 15 points. So that's why they need to get some points on the board, make it to where Michigan can't get up by 15, or by 16, I should say. Well, let's see what Michigan does here. 4th and 8. They're going to get this ball back. They might go for a field goal here, but yeah, on mobile, they pop up. Oh, you're talking about that one. Yeah. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I know. The one I hate is when you pause it, it puts the ad on screen. So if you were going to click on something else, you accidentally click on the ad and it takes you out of YouTube. I hate that. Punt is up. Gets recovered at about the 20-yard line. Gets to 25 to 30. Gets to the 35-yard line. Gets tackled at about the 38-yard line with 10 seconds left. That's still enough time to get in the field goal range with 2 big plays. If you do it quick enough, we'll see. In UFL history, that 15-point comeback was the largest in UFL history. That had not been done in the year and a half, so that was the biggest one of the 2 years. First and 10 for Michigan here. They're probably going to do at least one deep play, and that's probably it. Pete Alonso is a double and a RB I think I saw. I love to see that. He's got like May NL Player of the Week or year or something, or not year. Player of the Month. Love to see that. And they're going to kneel it. They're just going to go into half. Yes, the pause is awful. I've accidentally paused. The ads pop up, and I accidentally hit the skip button next to the video. So instead of unpausing, yeah. Instead of unpausing, what's the next message? It puts you in the site. I know. It's so bad. I hate that about YouTube ads. And then I know that, like, the new features they're putting in and how ads get put are so bad. The first 500-yard passing game is going to be insane. Let's see. So at halftime, Chris Rowland has 6 receptions for 59 yards. Second place on DC is 26. Oh, my goodness. Perkins is 7 of 8 for 104, 1 TD, 0 interceptions. Te'amu started off so good, and now he's down to 13 of 22. Hate to see that. Let's effing go Panthers. Hey, I'm stunned they're doing this well. I love to see it, but you know what? If I'm gonna get my pick wrong in the games, as long as it's for the Panthers winning or McClendon winning, I'm fine. That's what I've pretty much said. If it's somebody I like that gets the W, then so be it. Bryce Perkins still trending there. Love to see it. Huge for Perkins. Again, second time. He's just been so good this year. It's really insane. Bryce Perkins is 12 on trending right now. That's what you love to see. Number 12 on trending. Love to see it. I'm way ahead of you, Zomb. Weird. Well, no, so we've pretty much figured it out. ESPN/ABC for me is really slow, and Fox is really fast for me. That's pretty much what it is. Bryce Perkins is number 12 on trending right now. Love to see that. Number 12, maybe we need to get him to top 10 status. Is he the Raider that sped to 150? Henry Ruggs. Okay, teams Esther and Henry Ruggs. Hey, you know, it's like they always say in the NFL, if you can win games, they don't care what you did. Like, dude, that's the whole thing with the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. Like, bro, if a team thought Kaepernick would get you W's, they'd sign him like that. Like, in the NFL, they could care less what you did. If you can get them some wins, they're going to get you. Yeah, so the whole thing with Henry Ruggs, I believe, is that because of what he got sentenced to, he's only going to be in jail for like a couple more years or something, and then he should get out. Like, he should get out relative to what not that he should get out, he shouldn't get out. What he did was inexcusable. But the point is that he should be getting out in like a couple of years. So he'll still be playing age. So if he's still fit, he might be able to come out and play. And, you know, a team will get him. If they think he can play, they will go after him. It'll be insanely morally wrong, but we've seen a lot of morally wrong things go on in the NFL in the past, right? If you can get them a W, they're going to keep you. Yeah, it's insane that he can come back in the league. I mean, like, certain things, like what he did, is, like, inexcusable, and the fact that he's going to get out so soon is just, like, insane. I mean, it's insane to even think they should get sooner. I mean, the fact that he's going to get less than 10 years is insane. I mean, like, dude, he was going 150. He was, like, remember, I believe he was the guy, right, where when they did the blood test to see how high he was, or not how high, how drunk he was, it was, like, an hour after the fact, and he was still, like, when he was in the crash, he was hammered. I mean, like, oh my goodness. Do I think a UFL team would try to get him? I would say there's a 10% chance. I would say that depending where the league is when he comes out, I wouldn't be shocked. That's what I would say. And what would normally be charged? Normal people should be charged for like over 30 years or just life in prison for that. Like, I mean, because I believe what it was, right, is when he got tested, he did it for the culture, the Raider culture. Because if I remember correctly, right, he didn't get tested till he was in the hospital, which was like a solid hour after the fact, and he was still like twice the legal limit or something. So that meant that he was like at least probably 4 times. No way he was. I mean, it's insane that he's going to get out at some point. Like, soon. It's insane. Hate to see it. Hate to see people basically get away with doing something terrible like that. Because, like, especially in this day and age, like, dude, you're an NFL player. Like, NFL players get paid stupid money. Like, even if you just get drafted. Like, you couldn't pay for an Uber. Like, bro, come on. Yeah, I mean, dude should have gotten, like, if you're not getting him life in prison, the least you should have gotten was 40 years. Least. The fact that he got, like, his normal punishment was, like, less than 15, and then with good behavior and stuff, it was, like, less than 10, is insane. I mean, it's not like, oh, he had a beer or two and made a mistake. He was hammered. Like, there's not even a shred of an excuse. The way he was meant that anyone around him should have been like, he is clearly drunk. And the fact that he still got in the car and did what he did, I mean, come on. Insane that he didn't get, like, what he got was a slap on the wrist. That's what he got. He may have gone to jail for a few years. He got a slap on the wrist. He should be, like, locked up for what he did. Like, he didn't make a mistake. He chose to kill somebody. When you get that drunk and do that, you chose to do that. Like, come on. Yeah, I'm shocked that Papella isn't back, especially how much marketing the shows were doing with him, even at the end. Maybe he's retiring or something. We never know what someone's got, but definitely is shocking. He would be great for them for sure. His blood alcohol level was double the legal limit hours after the crash. I mean, that's what's crazy. The fact that he was that drunk that late is absurd. Like, it is, in today's day and age, it is a choice. This isn't back in the 1980s where you didn't have Uber, you didn't have all that. You are in a day and age where you have Lyft, you have Uber. You have a phone on you all the time. Like, dude, just call somebody. Just, like, if you're that big of a celebrity, if you literally told the owner and said, hey, I don't want to call an Uber, can I just chill here until I get back to normal? They're going to keep the place open because you're going to pay him or something. Like, to be that drunk and do what he did is insane. That, absolutely wild they didn't get a bigger punishment. Like, there's certain times where, like, clearly something was wrong with how certain guys get hit, but that one isn't yet. This is why I watch your streams on me, find ways to fill time with topics. Yeah, the last couple especially, there's always just something coming up, because it's like, the thing with the Henry Ruggs thing, it's just insane that news came out, like, earlier this week or something. that he was that, like, even when the story came out, I remember when that story came out. Like, you had that was when the Raiders, like, every player was doing something. Like, dude, how are you that hammered at the hospital after the crash, after you got taken, and after you got treated? Like, it's scary to think how drunk he was when that crash happened. That's the most insane part about it. Like, the level he must have been at, like, his blood alcohol level must have been something insane. It's absurd. He needs to improve. He needs to improve himself to not drink, surround himself with good people. If he continues to be the same guy, what's the point of him returning to the NFL? I mean, hey, it's like Mike Vick, right? Mike Vick did something horrible, but then he, got out of jail. He was one of the, like, it's so sad, but you very rarely see it. He went to jail. He did his time. He looked back. He improved himself as a person. He had to deal with all the issues with people, protesting and playing, and he took it because he knew he deserved it, and he got to play. I don't think Henry Ruggs is going to happen. Like, Henry Ruggs is what he got. Like, dude, you killed a chick. You killed a girl and her dog because you were ignorant. That's the ultimate truth. It was an ignorant decision. That is just the ultimate level of, I'm Henry Ruggs, I can do what I want. Insane. Yeah, like, there's doing something bad, and there's, like, something like Henry Ruggs did. Because, no, it's insane. It's so hard. I personally wouldn't agree that I don't agree that I personally wouldn't hire someone who has those horrid ethics. That situation is insane. Ruggs will get a 1-year suspension, right? You thought Deshaun Watson would have gotten more than 13 games, but they specifically gave him a suspension that just so happened to let him come back when they were playing the Texans, right? Who was the guy this offseason? Rashee Rice. He was involved in that crash that, like, killed people. I don't even think he got a suspension, right? I mean, granted, like, some would argue karma came when Mahomes was like, I'm going to break my teammate's leg. But, like, the NFL, when it comes to discipline, Urinating Tree jokes about it. It is a wheel of discipline. The NFL will basically spin a wheel, and then they'll say, oh, well, 1-game suspension, 2-year suspension. Like, I'm sorry. Betting on a different sport in a team facility should not get you a worse punishment than, like, Rashee Rice. I'm sorry. Like, come on. Insane. After watching the first half, I see why I say DC will eventually lose with Te'amu. The Wii ball mentality is so true, which is weird because he looks so much better in the 2023 season. That's what I know. Yeah, the 2023 season with the XFL, the biggest thing to note is he had a great O-line. Abram Smith was healthy, right? Clearly, he is not fully back being healthy. Abram Smith was incredible that year, and Chris Blair and Lucky Jackson were 2 great receivers. There's a reason they're still in the NFL. So he had this, like, god squad of spring football talent around him, and that was the best year he looked. 2022 led the league in interceptions. 2024 led the league in interceptions. This season, he's not only continuing that interception trend, but he's also just even more inaccurate. So, I mean, that's my issue with DC, is that eventually this F it, we ball mentality will come back to bite him, and it's looking like it might in this game. I can't believe he was still conscious after all that drinking. Really, honestly true. It's insane he was able to do that. Gifted with insane talent and opportunity to play in the NFL in general. Yeah, because especially for those of you who don't know, he had, like, tweets that came out saying, like, I'm a great drunk driver, or, like, something, and, like, something else. Like, he had tweets that people found that made it look even worse. Because he had, like, basically said stuff about drunk driving, and it made it look even worse than it already was. That's why it's, like, so unforgivable, the fact of what he did. For me, it's beyond normal wrong. Because, like, that's something simple of a choice. That's not like you made a mistake on the highway, you made a wrong move, and something came into nothing. No, that is you chose to get in a car and drive. At that level of being intoxicated, like, come on. So, we're just not working live stream. Thank you for that. Okay, there we go. Is it time to bench Te'amu? They're never going to bench Te'amu. Their time to bench him was last year in week 8, 9, and 10 for McClendon, and they didn't. They're not. It's too far gone for that team. They're going to keep playing him. Like, it's like Perez. Like, Perez, there are talks for Allers to start. They're going to keep playing Perez because he's that guy. Like, if they're not benching Perez, the DC defenders are not benching Te'amu. Yeah, Te'amu is protected for sure. Because he's got that aura like Perez does. Like, that's why it was such a big deal when McCarron got, basically unceremoniously cut. But yeah, while so many athletes make awful choices when gifted with unlimited opportunities, hey, money is a big deal. Like I've talked about before, the NFL, you get paid a ton of money. If you don't have that money, and you get a ton of money, and you get to be super famous, it's why somebody like Cam Ward, people are like so high on him, because like his whole draft night thing, it's like this dude is like just acting like it's a normal day for him. He's just wearing a basic thing, basic fit, basic stuff. Like that's why it's such a big deal. It's like Shedeur Sanders falling. Most people believe it's because of his personality and how he's acted to people. Like, it's a big deal. So, it's hard to take it. When you see a guy who's humble in the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, UFC, it's always a big deal. It's like a big reason why people like the fighting nerds in the UFC, because they're the more like humble group in the UFC. And they still go out there, they prove what they can do, and they have a good time. Like, you have to be really good to be able to talk trash and back it up. But it's a shame how it is, but yeah. Please let Te'amu and the Defenders win the championship. It'd be the funniest thing ever. Dude, if Te'amu won the championship, going like 20 of 45 for 2 TDs and 2 interceptions, that'd be peak. Kick is up. It is recovered at the 10-yard line, up to the 15, up to the 20, 25 to 30. The Panthers get to the 35-yard line. Get tackled at about the 36-yard line. Scary things people do all the time, drunk driving at those alcohol levels. It really is sad. Like, with how much we have available to us now with Uber, Lyft, people going with, like, it's at this point, it's inexcusable. Like, in the 80s, it's still terrible, but, like, at least you can see, like, hey, it's not like it is now. There's no excuse now. You have, like, 18 different methods to get home without being drunk driving, and the fact that people still choose to do it is just... Punishment should be more severe for that, because that is a choice to make. You choose to endanger people. Like, come on. Ball snapped. Perkins hands it off to Tawa, who gets about a 2.5-yard gain. Going to make it about 2nd and 7. People just don't care about others. True. Sadly true. Sadly true. Uber, Lyft, taxis. That's right. I mean, I still see taxis all the time around where I live. The bus still exists, so that's another thing you have. You have a lot. 2nd and 8 for the Panthers, lining up 3 receivers to the left, tight end to the right, RB to the right of Perkins in the backfield with him. Ball snapped. Perkins looks over the middle, looks to his left. He's going to roll up. He's going to run for it. Gets the first down and slides at the 50. Love to see that. That was Perkins in week 1 or 2. He would have hurdled that guy. Love to see him slide there, get to the 50-yard line. Almost in field goal range already. Looking like a solid opening drive for Michigan. I will say, like I said in the live stream on Friday, Michigan winning by like a decent margin is going to make the power rankings so difficult. Because it's going to be like, who do you put at 1, the Battlehawks or the Panthers? And if they dominate this game, I'd have to put Michigan, but we'll see. It's going to be one of those 2 teams if Michigan wins this game. Handed off on first down, gets a solid 7-yard gain. Huge play right there for the Panthers there. Nice run by Tawa. I've even seen taxis here in Florida, so I know there's some big... in these cities like Miami. Make cars with breathalyzers. Won't start if you've been drinking. True. But you're going to have those people who don't buy it because they just don't want to deal with it. And they're like, oh, it's too much work. Because everybody nowadays, like, when you have a car that you don't have to put your keys in to, like, start it, it's like, bro, come on. 2nd and 3 for the Panthers. 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Ball snapped, or 3 to the right, my bad. Handed off to Tawa again, who might get the first down in forward progress, or is going to be about half-yard short. I say that like I don't have my phone set to just use fingerprint, so I don't have to type in 4 numbers. Like, come on. Showing even more family of Tawa. Coincidence that they're showing all this family stuff after his dad talked about the Battlehawks fan on Twitter or on Facebook. Just saying. Ironic, isn't it? 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Getting very close to field goal range. Again, even though I know technically he could here with BT Potter, I would get closer. All the receivers are to the left side of the ball. Ball is snapped. And he's get hit, but he stays on his feet. He's rolling out to his right. He goes for it. He gets to the 30-yard line. He gets to the 20-yard line. They're going to call him out about the 19-yard line, but there is a flag. If this flag is offensive holding, it's going to be a huge drawback for the Panthers. Yep, looks like he's coming back. Going to be holding on the Panthers. Yep, holding on the tight end. Hate to see it. Gunnar Oaks got the penalty. Not what you want to see. Shame that he got that holding penalty, because that was a good run by Perkins. He was able to stay inbounds, just keep moving. Cars with fobs have been stolen by people matching the frequency or something. That's pretty... I'm not too shocked to hear that. A lot of... I mean, just with cars, like, sometimes you gotta stick with what it's always been. Just have a specific key for it. You know, just do that. Michigan over-under for Perkins rushing yards 31.5. Wow, dude. ESPN bet some of these are wild. Ball is snapped. Perkins looks over the middle of the field. Throws it directly over the middle, and Gunnar Oaks drops the pass. Back-to-back bad looks for Gunnar right there. Hate to say that one of the guys that follows me on Insta, but man, that is not what you want to see right there. Bad drop right there on that pass, and again, after a holding penalty, you can't do that. Showing the replay. Yeah, hit him right in the hands, just couldn't make the catch. 2nd and 20 for the Panthers. Again, that holding penalty also makes this, out of field goal range. So they have to get about 15 yards to get into realistic field goal range. That's what makes that penalty hurt so much. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, RB to the left with Perkins in the backfield. Ball is snapped, fakes the handoff, gets pressured, gets the screen off, but it is not good as he gets hit as he throws, and it might have been tipped in the air 3rd and 20. Again, you got to get about 15 yards here to be able to kick a field goal. If you get anything under 10, you're going to be forced to punt. Not great. Shannon Harris talking the sideline. The DC Doormen. What a team. Shannon Harris. Again, it would be great to see him stick around. Just say, nah, I'm good with Reggie and just stay here. It would be great to see. 3rd and 20 for the Panthers. Perkins is in shotgun. 3 receivers to his left, 1 to his right, 1 running back to his right as well. Ball is snapped. Perkins looks over to the left. He's getting pressured, but he evades the sack. He's rolling up. He's got a ton of room. And he's going to run for it late, but he breaks the tackle, gets to the 40, gets to the 30, gets the first down to the 25, to the 20. Tackled at the 20-yard line. His helmet gets knocked off in the process, taking a big hit. And he looks like he's down. Oh, he's getting back up. That's the one issue with Perkins, is sometimes he just doesn't go down. In that scenario, once he got the first down, he needed to just go down. Took a couple of big hits he didn't have to, but that was a great play by him either way. He had 3 guys around him, but they were not able to get the tackle. He made one of the guys break his legs, and the other guy just wasn't able to get a good tackle for him because Perkins is how fast he is. And then he just got hit a couple big times. One of that looks like a bit of a head-to-head hit right there, but man, huge play with Bryce Perkins right there. I'm so ahead of you. Hey, we're about... No, at the same token, I think we're about the same time. It's just that with the little bit of a stream delay, because normal stream delay is like about like 5-10-ish seconds. It's like a little bit back. So I think we're actually pretty even in terms of that, but you might be about like 5-ish seconds faster. We're heading towards the Panthers versus Battlehawks championship game. I would say probably. With Perkins as the full-time starter, this Michigan offense is just such a dynamic unit. But because of the helmet came off, Danny Etling is in. This is not benching Perkins. This is not putting Etling in. This is because of the injury right now to Perkins. But Etling is in. Just don't throw an interception. They hand it off. Good decision. And it gets to the 10-yard line. And it's going to be just about a yard shy. Nate McCreary almost had a beautiful rushing touchdown. He's about a yard shy. Going to be 1st and goal at about the 1-yard line for the Michigan Panthers after the handoff by Etling to... Bro, is this stream just cursed or something? Like, seriously, my power just surged or something? Like, you know what a power... For those of you who know what a power surge is, it's like the whole thing just, like, clicked off and clicked right back on in a second. Whole thing just happened. Dude, this is the second issue this stream. Okay, pulling everything back up. So give me a second. I just gotta pull everything back up real quick. I think that's the right one. Nope, it's the wrong one. Not that one. There we go. Okay. We're back. We're back, chat. Panthers got the touchdown, and they got the 1-point conversion successful. Again, love to see that. Man, dude, this stream has been... Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is wild. Yeah, it just had a little bit of a power surge happen. Hate to see that. So we had my computer just... crash out at the very beginning of the stream, and then we had a power surge. Man, I love to see that. But hey, we're back. That's all that matters. We're back. So, it's all good. Absolutely wild. But yeah, this game is... I would definitely say that the Panthers Battlehawks is probably what the championship is looking like it might be. Like, with Birmingham, you never know. Birmingham, like, we said this a couple years ago as well. It was a no-look pass DPS. Man, that sucks I couldn't see that one. I literally just put it on after you got the conversion. Man. Beautiful drive of the home team. All right, well, that's a nice... I hope that was a beautiful no-look pass. I'll definitely see the replay on Twitter, probably. Let's see. Where's Perkins trending now? Perkins is still at 14. He's been at 14 for a little while now. Yeah, thank you, Joshua, for being up and running in. Yeah, it's just... hate when that happens. It's always the most inopportune times this happens. But hey, could have been worse. That's what I would say. Could have been worse. But yeah, I would say so far, though, that Perkins is really looking like he's going to be the MVP. That's for sure. Like, the way he's been playing this game and how it's been all season, he's probably the MVP of the league. Bayern Munich won the title again. Why am I not surprised? The past looked a little homey. Okay. So we got Chris Collinsworth in the chat. Okay, G-Man. Perkins, 7 of 10 for 104 yards. Man, that's a great stat line. 1 TD. Love to see it. 137 passer rating is insane. Perkins might get a call from the Steelers instead of Rodgers. I wouldn't be shocked if the Rams try and get him back. I mean, he started a game for the Rams. I mean, if you're Sean McVay and you're looking at what Perkins is doing right now, you're like, man, there's a couple things he might be able to do pretty well. But the Steelers, hey, the Steelers quarterback room is weak. I mean, it's like what Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, and Skylar Thompson. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Perkins, the way he's playing like this, I mean, like, he's been great, especially considering that he hasn't been playing a ton. He was a lot like Martinez early in the season last year, right? Not being a full-time player, getting, like, snaps, but not the whole game. And this was the MVP matchup. And so far, again, we still have a lot of game left, but so far they're dominating DC, and a lot of that is just Perkins being a much better quarterback than Jordan Ta'amu. Oh, I just realized, if this kind of game holds up and DC ends up getting, like, beat bad, where do I put DC? Like, do I put him below Arlington? Because, like, I can't, right? Because Arlington has looked really poor. I don't know. It's going to be a rough one. We'll be sad to see him go and just find the bench. Wish the UFL is in a position to pay much better. You do, for sure, yeah. As a head down. Oh, dude, I still remember that. I was watching, I believe, the Mavericks-Knicks game, or a Mavericks-Knicks game. The game ended relatively quickly, and so I just happened to turn on, because that was like Luka early on. I was like, okay, I'll watch that one. Then I happened to put on that Browns-Steelers game, and, like, literally 2 minutes later, that play happened. I was like, oh, my God. That was hilarious to watch live. Return starts at the 10 for DC, gets to about the 15, gets to the 20, cutting to the left, gets to the 25, out of bounds about the 26. Magoo, true, just kind of there. And even Martinez last year, obviously, too. But I would say at the moment, not counting Birmingham's game, I'd say right now Michigan 1, St. Louis 2, DC 3, Arlington 4. Because if I put Michigan at 1, it justifies DC above Arlington. The fact that Arlington did just lose to DC, and it was like a week ago, not like a couple weeks ago. The fact that the Panthers loss was with Etling at quarterback for that one drive. I think that sounds like a solid top 4. Granted, depending on how Birmingham plays, they might crack the top 4. I would say for now that looks like top 4. Again, DC could make this a closer game. We'll see. Decent rush right there. Get about 9 yards on the carry. 1 yard shot. Yes, Cavante Turpin is still there. I think he became the highest paid, like, pure returner, as they call him, even though he does play receiver. Like, primary returner, I believe he got paid, like, the highest contract ever or something like that. So he got a ton of money for that. 2nd and 1 for DC. Ball is snapped. Fakes the handoff, looks to the middle of the field, throws it deep over the middle. It is a great pass to Rowland, who gets it to the 10-yard line. The 5, touchdown, Chris Rowland. That's what we've been needing to see from Ta'amu. That's probably like the second time all year he's made that throw. A deep throw that catches his guy in stride. That's what we've been wanting to see from him. Incredible throw by Te'amu right there. Great play. I mean, that's what the big issue we've had with Te'amu all season is instead of actually catching his guys in stride, their guys would have to slow down to come back and catch it. That was great. Great throw by Te'amu. 12-24 right now. Going for 2 once again. If they make this, it's a 10-point game. Te'amu's in shotgun. Ball is snapped. Looks over the middle of the field. Throws it. It is caught and it is good. 24-14. Michigan over DC with 8.5 minutes. Needs to be taken seriously. To crack an NFL roster during the season, if it hits like over 10, I'd say it's a pretty big deal. It's also about just how much impact they have. Like Dondre Tillman and Jake Bates both having a huge impact really helped, and obviously Aubrey. Like if these guys can stick around playing well, it'll also help them too. Te'amu, so Mole, nice to see you here. But the big reason what happened is Te'amu initially was looking pretty good, but like Arlington on Friday, they had a great opening drive that they failed to get any points on by making poor decisions, going for a field goal or going for a TD when they should have taken the field goal. Perkins has been incredible. Perkins has looked like the MVP of the league right now. And Te'amu in the second quarter was looking like Te'amu at his worst. He was making a ton of inaccurate throws, really hurting the team. But he just made a beautiful pass to Chris Rowland, probably the best throw of the season for him. Now it is 24-14, 10-point game. But yeah, it's just been Perkins. I mean, Bryce Perkins is top 15 trending on Twitter. At least he was and might still be. So yeah, that's pretty much the biggest reason. We have a guy who's trending on Twitter at quarterback who's now 13 on trending. So yeah, return is up to about the 32-yard line. If you had told me that 2 years ago, and I saw these quarterbacks, I'd say yes. But I watched Aaron Rodgers use like the same receiving core and play like worse, for the most part, than Zach Wilson did. So, I don't know. That's what I would say. Because of how this last season played out with Aaron Rodgers and how Zach Wilson looked with that team, it's a bit harder to say that. Yes, I'm doing a slight dig at Aaron Rodgers, but he kind of deserves it for last season. We had 500 yards DPS, man. Love to see that. Getting some actual offensive games. Again, the first 3 weeks were pretty rough, but the last 3, we've had a lot of good offensive games. Handoff goes all the way to the 40-yard line and then some about to the 42-yard line. Huge rush for Michigan. Again, they need to try and get back on the board. Do not want to allow DC to break the record again for the largest comeback. That would be really bad to see if you're Michigan. Chris Rowland's been dominating. Second most yards in a game this season. Love it. Aaron's, 44? Sounds about right. I don't know off the top of my head how old he is, but that sounds about right. It might be like 43, but like 42, 44, like, it's only so much different, but definitely up there in age. But I mean, hey, they act like he's still MVP Rodgers, which he was about like 3 years ago, don't get me wrong, but yeah. Snap is a handoff to Tawa, who gets about 4-ish yards. One thing I'm getting a bit scared, Michigan's team is getting a little bit predictable. They get like a big rush, and the very next play they'll do another rush, and then they'll do like some sort of pass or something. Again, I am somebody who, if you're running down a team's throat and it's working, keep doing it. But the way Michigan is doing it in this game is a bit questionable. Bryson DeChambeau wins Live Golf Korea. Live Golf, don't really care too much, but Bryson winning, not too shocked. Trying to make up for that awful Masters Sunday he had. What a terrible day of golf he had that day, but Arlington Falcons, bro. 2nd and 7 for Perkins. Ball snapped. Pass. Quick pass is caught to Siosi Mariner, who gets the first down and gets past midfield. Huge play for Michigan right there. Again, they can get up to over 30 points. It'll be huge for them. Michigan is answering. Keep it going. Looking pretty good for Michigan right now in this game. Again, I'm going to be so wrong in my game picks if this score keeps up. If this game goes the way it's looking, that's going to be one of the biggest ones I got wrong this year. Yeah, wow, I had it on. Okay, yeah, that's going to be wrong. Ball is snapped. Fake the handoff. Perkins rolls out to his right. Throws it deep to the left. It is caught by Gunnar Oaks, who does make the catch. Huge gain up to about the 10-yard line. Massive play. That's what you need to do. Make up for the mistakes you made earlier. Make up for the drop catch. Make up for the holding penalty you took. Huge play by Gunnar Oaks right there. Massive, massive play by him. Look at that throw. Beautiful throw by Bryce Perkins. You know, we've talked about before, Perkins has had like the best game of the season at quarterback. He might be breaking his own mark for best game of the season by a quarterback by any QB this year. Incredible play right there by him. They hand it off once again up the middle. Tawa gets the first down. It's going to be about 1 yard shy of the end zone. DC defenders, what's happening? Sup, Adam? Sup, Adrian? Michigan really play like the best team. I mean, if they keep this up, even though they lost to St. Louis a couple weeks ago, you're going to have to put them at 1 because of the fact that that game did have the Danny Etling controversy. And this is the best team in the league, and they're currently just beating them. Again, we still have 20 minutes a game left, but preliminary top 4, barring the Birmingham game, is Michigan, St. Louis, DC, Arlington. But again, a lot can change. If Birmingham dominates San Antonio, they'll move up probably to like 4 or 3, but we'll see. First and goal for the Panthers. Motioning Mariner. They hand it off. Rolls out to the left, but he gets tackled for about a 2-yard loss. Big loss for the Panthers right there. Going to be about 2nd and 4 now. Tam's number 35 ball today. Hey, Tao had like one really solid rush, like I think last week or 2 weeks ago, and then like he's gotten a lot of time, and man, he's looking really solid for sure. Again, the Panthers' ground attack for running backs has been one of the most consistent this season. In a league where the running backs haven't been great, they've been one of the better teams in that aspect. G-Man with the team emojis. You become a community member and get those team emojis. Perkins is in shotgun. All of his receivers, aside from his tight end, are to his right. He's got his running back to his right as well. Ball is snapped. Fakes the handoff. Quick throw to CLC Mariner, who catches it and gets the touchdown, but there is a flag. This might be some sort of offensive pass interference here. Or illegal screen. It looks like it's probably going to be the case. Yep, sounds like it's going to be offensive, illegal blocking or something like that on the Panthers receiving core. Yeah, this touchdown is going to be overturned. I mean, they haven't even given them the points on the score bug, so it's definitely getting overturned. Yep, passing interference offense, not too shocked about that one right there. So it's going to be a 10-yard penalty. So now instead of starting it where they were at like first and goal at like the 2-yard line, they're going to be all the way backed up to almost the 14-yard line here. Again, you just have to score. You already have a 2-score lead. If you get any points on the board, it's going to make it very difficult for DC, especially how good the Panthers offense is playing. So again, yes, you want the touchdown here, but as long as you get the field goal, get that lead up to 13 points, that's what you want to see. Because again, a 13-point lead means that you got to get 2 touchdowns and score at least 1 extra point conversion of your DC. So let's see if they can do this one. Mike Nolan is challenging. There was DPI over number 17 of the Panthers. Let's see if this challenge works. Again, now this is a challenge that some would say isn't the best because if it works, it doesn't give you a touchdown. It just gets an offsetting penalties. But then you're at 2nd and 4, or 2nd and goal at the 4. So it makes it a much easier touchdown. So him challenging this means that he's probably going to go for it on 4th down. Let's see the replay. Grabbed. And falls down. Showing the audio in the stadium. Man, the Michigan crowd is going to be pissed. So, Mike P is saying that that should have been defensive holding, but because it was challenged for DPI, it's not going to be a successful challenge because it wasn't the right thing. So, that means that that challenge is unsuccessful. That's actually wild. Huge blow for Michigan there. Again, the super challenge stuff, a lot of people have been liking it. You know, a lot of people love the rule, but sometimes been questioned, so yeah. Huge blow for Mike Nolan there. If he would have called it a bit different, it would have been successful instead. Unset. Bryce Perkins is up to 11 on trending, by the way. So that's pretty huge. Perkins is all the way up there in trending. So this is going to be, again, second and goal from the 14-yard line. So we'll see what Nolan calls here, because doing that challenge made it seem like he was going to go for it on fourth down if he wasn't able to get the touchdown earlier. But now that you're back up here, again, you just can't take yards lost, can't turn the ball over. Just try and get at least a field goal. Try and extend your lead, but you want the touchdown. So we'll see what they do here. Mike P is talking about how you got to be specific with it. It's a shame that Nolan called the wrong thing just because, you have to call one specific thing and something else. Panthers lining up very similarly. Tight end to the left, every other receiver to the right, though this time the running back's to his left. Bad snap! Perkins has it bobbled. He's going to take a massive yard loss. Because of forward progress, it's not going to be as bad as where he got sacked, but that's still going to be about a 15 to 20-yard loss for the Panthers right there. That is a massive blow. Let's see that snap. Ooh, just not good right there. Horrible play for Michigan, losing a ton of yards on that play right there. Again, with BT Potter as your kicker, you can't take losses of yards, especially when you're taking 10-plus yard loss of yards right there. That is not what you want to see if you're Michigan. Bad play for them right there. At least Perkins was able to get the ball, didn't lose it, didn't turn it over, but now they're snapping at third and goal from the 28-yard line. Ball is snapped. Perkins looks over the middle, throws it, is going to be caught about the 19. Mariner gets out of bounds about the 18. Solid play by Perkins. So it's going to be a field goal attempt. Again, horrible play right there. Hate to see it, but they were able to get a decent amount of yards back, make this a decently easy field goal. Not a gimme, but a decently easy one for BT Potter to make. Again, a made kick makes this a 13-point game, which, with how the extra point works, make this a pretty good lead for Michigan. You're going to force DC to make at least one extra point, but two if they want to win it. Unless they go for two, obviously, at the end or something like that. 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Let's see if BT Potter can make this kick. This is a 36-yarder. Should be a gimme, but we'll see. Ball is snapped. Kick is up. It's drifting, and it is no good. BT Potter missed the kick. Oh, my goodness. What a terrible kick. BT Potter. Okay, so we're going to Twitter. But there is a penalty. Let's see. Ooh. 15-yard penalty on the DC defenders. Terrible penalty. You can see that initially he was leaping over the center, doing something you're not allowed to do. And that's not what you want to see right there. Bad kick, though, by BT Potter. Hate to see that. Bad play for DC. And now they get a free first down to that first and goal 3-yard line. Perkins holds onto the ball, and he gets tackled for a 2-yard loss. Another bad first and goal play for the Panthers. I need Michigan 10.5. Well, because of that right there with that penalty, definitely going to help you out. Perkins is rolling out to the right. He gets hit, but he stays on his feet. Gets the touchdown by Perkins. Massive play. Perkins somehow stays on his feet and gets the touchdowns. Insane play by Perkins. Again, DC's tackling has been horrific this game. Could have prevented a score for DC. I mean, absolutely insane what just happened right there. I mean, seriously. Perkins just staying on his feet somehow. Absolutely insane. Perkins has been by far the best quarterback in the league right now. He is proving that right now. His MVP case went from really good to it's by far him, no one even close. He is number 10 on trending, and after that play, he's probably going to go up even more. Just massive form. 1-point conversion for the Panthers. Perkins in shotgun, ball is snapped. Handed off, but they're not going to get it this time. It is going to be a failed conversion. Insane. I mean, seriously, that's even insane. What an insane thing right now. Didn't mean to hit that. There we go. What a game. That's my Perkins, MV Perkins. Hey, he is easily MVP after that. That's for sure. What a game. This Perkins is just insane. I mean, he is easily the MVP favorite after this one. It's absolutely insane. Even Ben DiNucci was talking about how bad the Houston Roughnecks attendance is. Let's see if Perkins is moving up in the trending world. Number 9. He's up to number 9 on trending. Should start learning Guangdong Tigers, bro. Number 9 on trending for Bryce Perkins right now. Love to see it for Perkins. I will say, it's going to be so hard to see where I make these power rankings. I said it in the last stream. The worst thing that could happen for power rankings is to have Michigan thoroughly dominate DC. Because it's like, dude, where do you put DC now? Like, do you put them below both St. Louis and Arlington? Because that's the question, is are they weaker than Arlington? Because they just beat Arlington, but it was a very weird game. So who do you put there? Is it just that Perkins is so much better than everybody else? And then if Birmingham wins, do you move Birmingham above? It's just... This power ranking is going to be insane. If someone looks at the box score, that it looks like Talma is doing better. I don't think that's the case. Even you just box score watch, right? Yeah, I mean, 13 of 22 for 146 versus 7 to 10 for 104 is already a weaker stat line. Then rushing-wise, you got Teamu 2 carries for 2 yards with Perkins. I would disagree with that. I mean, box score watchers are going to say Perkins is thoroughly outplaying Teamu. In fact, I'd say it's the opposite in the sense that Teamu has actually looked a bit better. Again, the second quarter was weak, but this has been like Teamu's most consistent game, and still not enough. And then Houston, I don't even know about Houston. This is going to be a rough power rankings to do. Like, we've seen a lot of rough ones in a sense that's going to be very hard to make, but this one is going to be insane. It's going to be insane. Trend, or let's see. Is he moving up in the world? Number 7 on trending. Absolutely insane. Number 7 on trending is awesome. Love to see that. Return is about at the 10-yard line. The more inconsistent Teamu is, the better chance for defenders to win. Sadly true. If he just plays insane, it's just huge right there. Number 6 on trending now. Absolutely wild. Let's see. 1st and 10. Ball is thrown and is caught by none other than Chris Rowland for a 1st down. If Perkins leaves the pocket again, it's over. This is insane right now. I mean, this is an insane game for sure, how this is going. Run by Abram Smith, gets tackled at about the 29-yard line. Absolutely insane game. Power rankings, man, is going to suck to make this week because it's going to be, you could argue so much about it, but 2nd and 4 for the DC Defenders. Ball snapped, handed off to Abram Smith again, who gets tackled 2 yards before the line of scrimmage. Bryce Perkins has peaked at number 6 trending. Currently, he's at number 7, like just Bryce Perkins. He is trending at 7 right now, I believe. Like exactly 7 right now. Yep, he was at number 6 trending, and right now he is at number 7. Yeah, I mean, DC did have a 15-point comeback, but 16 points down with a quarter left. We'll see. Are we going to have another high-scoring game this, like last week where we had the 3 best game and 1 bad game, which is a blowout? We might, honestly. I wouldn't be shocked. Ball is snapped. Pass is thrown. It is almost intercepted. He threw into triple coverage. Oh, my goodness. Terrible decision by Teamu right there. Going to force a punt. Insane. What an insane game so far. Bryce Perkins is at 5. He's at number 5 right now. Bryce Perkins has reached the top 5. Insane. That's what we love to see for spring football. At number 5 trending. Teamu, it's time for you to sit on the bench. I mean, seriously, dude, what is power rankings going to be? Because if this ends up being a total blowout, like Michigan is clearly 1 and St. Louis is clearly 2. But then after that, what do you do? Because if Birmingham dominates San Antonio, who gets 3? Arlington? Birmingham? Like, and then where does Houston fit? Because Houston only has wins against poor teams. Does that mean that their cap is 5? But, like, this is going to be... I've said it a lot, but this will probably be the toughest power rankings video I've ever made. Because even if... Dude, if San Antonio somehow beats Birmingham, oh my goodness, the power rankings is going to be a nightmare to make. Because you could legit argue... Like, this past week was the first time where I think everybody agreed what the power rankings was. It was pretty clear what the rankings were, but after this, insane. Yeah, but I don't know if I can put Houston at 3, because, like, I'd want to, but their wins... Well, yeah, if San Antonio beats Birmingham, that makes sense, because, yeah, they did dominate them, so I do agree with that. If San Antonio beats Birmingham, I could buy it. I probably wouldn't put him at 3, but I'd probably put him at 4, but I could buy that. Because at that point, it makes the San Antonio win look better. Because if San Antonio loses, then that means Houston's 3 wins are unimpressive relative to other teams, because the big question for Michigan is Michigan hasn't beaten a good team. This is that good team that they've beat. So then you put Houston, probably their cap would be like 4 or 5. Well, the one thing is like Birmingham has been looking weaker. So if Birmingham, I would say Houston is probably 6. I would agree, unless Birmingham loses. But I could see them being at 5 depending on certain things go. Because like there's only so much credit you can give them. Because they're what people complained Michigan was. But Michigan did get the W this time. And they've been better against weaker teams in a sense as well. This is insane right now. Absolutely insane. Let's see where Perkins is trending now. Did he move up at all? Perkins is still at 5. If he can get above Harry Kane, oh, that would be huge. Michigan, oh my goodness. Michigan, we keep getting W's. Let me go over here real quick. Michigan has officially re-broken their record for the 3rd time. 11-6 is their attendance. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. This is the 3rd time they've broken their record. They broke it their first home game, they broke it their second, and they just broke it again. Oh my goodness. Michigan, if you take into account what they were, it's been the most improved market in the entire league by far. Like, they have been breaking their attendance record numbers for the 3rd time. Like, absolutely insane. Michigan, man, huge W. Yep, a new broken record for Michigan. They broke it their first game when they hit 10K. They broke it again. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Hear me out. If Michigan makes it the UFL Championship game, Eminem should be the halftime show. That'd be great. Bryce Perkins is gone. Michigan sports are doing great. Dude, Bryce Perkins, number 5 on trending is insane. It's just, oh my goodness. Absolutely wild. Third and 6 for the Michigan Panthers now. Absolutely insane. Perkins still number 5 on trending. Bryce Perkins is Lamar Jackson Jr. Ain't that the truth? I mean, he is, after this game so far, again, there's still 13 and a half minutes left, but so far he is the MVP by a wide margin now. Absolutely insane. Perkins in shotgun, ball is snapped. Throws it to the left. It is almost caught, but almost intercepted. That could have been bad, but he didn't end up getting intercepted. Absolutely wild. Still number 5 trending. I sub, by the way. Massive thank you to Stroud City Productions. This game by Perkins has been incredible. They're punting now, so that was the first real poor drive for Michigan. Perkins is 10 of 14 for 157, a touchdown. That is a 132 passer rating. Return is taken by Roland at about the 17, gets to the 20, gets to the 25, gets tackled at about the 26. And he has 8 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown. Absolutely insane. How was Houston tennis? I was at the game, didn't look that good. The dispersed number was 4,100, which did break the record for the worst attended game in UFL history in just sales numbers. But people estimate it was about 500 people in the stands. So, the worst game in attendance by far, whether you go by who was there or tickets distributed. Insane. Yeah, not great for Houston. And the attendance number didn't even come out till after the game was over. Like, it was over and then Mitchell put it out, but yeah, it was bad. Teamu gets the snap, hands it off. It's going to be about a 2-yard game for Abram Smith. 2nd and 7 for DC defenders. Teamu is in shotgun. One man to his right in the backfield with him. Two receivers on both sides of the ball. Ball is snapped. Looks to his right. Throws it. Is going to be caught. Gets the first down. Then about an extra 2 yards. A decent play right there for them. You streaming the 4 p.m. game? I am not streaming that game. I stream every Friday night game I stream, and I stream one game on the Saturday or Sunday. So the next stream I'll be doing is Friday night's game next week. Teamu runs for it, but gets about 2.5 yards. He's talking about the Houston game yesterday between the Roughnecks and the Showboats, which, let's just say not many people went to that game. Even though it was a great game, it's a shame the people who were there, like Mole, definitely had a great time. That was a great game. But yeah, not too many people were really there. Second and 7 for the DC defenders. Again, 2 people at each side of the ball. Teamu looks to his right, throws a deep pass, and it is overthrown. That is, again, the biggest issue with Teamu. He will underthrow or overthrow passes every once in a while like that. Big overthrow. Could have been a touchdown. Would like to have that one back. 4K in Houston. Yeah, I hated that. I live in Houston. There could be a lot of reasons why they tend to be bad. The Rockets still in the playoffs, too. Everybody talks about the Astros. No marketing, everything. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think Tisdale was pointing out, it's like a huge metro population. Like, Houston is one of the biggest cities in the country. Like, for them to be bad in attendance is, like, really rough to see. Like, a city like Memphis is a lot less, but yeah. Michigan, this game is 11,600. This breaks their team's record for the 3rd time this season. Pass is thrown over the middle. It is another overthrown pass to Chris Rowland. Another poor throw that Teamu wishes he would have back. They're going to force the punt. Michigan in week 2 broke their attendance record by having 10,049. Then in week 3 broke it again by having 11,013. And then this game broke it even more. Not this year. St. Louis this season averages 30,845. This last game, they had weaker attendance at 26,000, but that was because you had a ton of stuff going on in St. Louis. But overall this season, they're averaging roughly about 30K fans per game, which is still by far the best in the league, but it's about 35K this season. Return is at the 10, gets to the 15 for Michigan, gets to the 20, gets tackled at about the 22-yard line. Again, about 10 minutes left. Pretty much any score for Michigan fully closes this game out. Again, it's a 16-point game. If you get a field goal, it becomes a 3-score game at that point, even with the UFL allowing for 3-point attempts. So if you're DC, you have to get a stop. Any score, it's game over. Because scoring 3 times with this much time left is, let's just say, not likely. Trending. Perkins is still number 5 on trending right now. Love to see that. Huge for the Panthers. Huge for Bryce Perkins. Insane. Hold on. Let me see if MB's saying it. What was the most points a team has got this whole season? This season, I believe it was DC's 37 a couple weeks ago. Or not a couple weeks ago, last week. They scored 37 last week. Yes, that was the most scored this season, was 37 by DC. And that huge comeback where they broke the record for biggest comeback in UFL history at a 15-point comeback. That is the record for biggest comeback and the most points scored this week. Dude, I love when you see some people like this Lonnie Waddell guy acting like better but not great either. Like, dude, this is legit the best attendance number of the entire season. When you do it how you're supposed to, which is judging it to attendance of the past, saying that the Panthers would have that number this late in the season, nobody would have said that. I thought they would improve, but not like this. I mean, that's insane. I mean, absolutely insane attendance improvement for Michigan. Jake Bates effect, baby. Love to see it. Panthers have one more home game left versus the Roughnecks. Hey, that hopefully we can see another good game. They can hit another game over 10K. If they can get all of their games to be over 10K, aside from the one, because they had the 19500. I mean, hell, even all their games over 9K would be a massive improvement for the team. I hate saying this, but this could mean that next year we're going to see some teams relocating. G-Man, I'm sorry, but I would say the Showboats are the most likely at this point. I pointed it out on Twitter. Through this season, the single lowest viewed game on all of the 3 major networks involved the Showboats. The worst attendance average this season is the Showboats, and the single worst attended game is also the Showboats. So, like, I hate to say that, but, like, it's been rough. I will say, though, that I still wouldn't be super shocked if we see Houston move too with how they've been, but yeah, there's definitely some questions that have to be asked about relocating, which I will make a video on that definitely, like, in the offseason for sure. 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Perkins is in shotgun, 1 man directly behind him. 2 receivers to his right and 2 lined up close to the line of scrimmage at the left. Hand it off, run up the middle, gets about 2, maybe 2.5 yards on the play. Okay as first play. Again, you just got to eat as much clock as you can. Got to try and get at least like 2 first downs here. Eat up about like a solid 3 to 4 minutes off game clock. Again, it's a 2-score game right now. It's a 16-point game. So if you can keep it to a 2+ score game, you're fine. There is an injured defender right now, though. I would be great to see the Generals come back. Of course, the only issue is the cost of playing a team in the New York, New Jersey area. Because in terms of media, that would be a huge boost for like TV ratings for sure. So that's why it's like a double-edged sword, because the actual place to play would be a ton of money, but the benefit of TV ratings would be presumably really solid. Perkins still at number 5 trending. Love to see that. Canton should be the side of the championship game. Always is, I would say, debatable depending on what teams get added, but for now, I would say yes. It's such a great location because there's so much stuff to do. I've talked about before, the whole reason I'm not going to the championship game this year is it's not worth me spending all the money to go to St. Louis. Like Canton, you have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you have the NFL Hall of Fame, you're like an hour away from Cleveland, like a couple hours away from Columbus, you're near so much. Ball is snapped, handed off to Nate McCreary, who gets tackled immediately for about a 1-yard loss. Great play by the DC defense. Again, they need to step up to force Michigan to punt the ball to get another shot at trying to score. Do you think the Panthers can win the UFL this year? The truth is they just need to avoid Birmingham. They have never beaten Birmingham, and yes, there's always that dragon you need to slay. If you make it to where it's them versus the Roughnecks in the playoffs, they have a very good shot at it. If it's against Birmingham, you never know what's going to happen. That's what I would say. That's who they need to get. They need to slay the Stallions dragon. 3rd and 8 for the Panthers. Perkins is in shotgun, 1 man to his right in the backfield with him. Ball is snapped, looks over the middle of the field, looks to his right. Quick throws, is going to be caught by McCreary, who gets to the 30 and gets to about the 34-yard line. He might have gotten the first down there. Really great play by him. The FedEx owner who wanted the show is back. Yeah, it's all really up to to him for sure. If he ends up, if the league may kind of force his hand to like kind of buy part ownership of the team or something, because it is a huge sponsorship deal they get with FedEx. So I understand them keeping him there, but yeah. Championship game, I'd love it to be. I'd either want it to change every team every year. I understand that, you know, the Dome is a much easier place to book than other places. But if you couldn't get an Audi Field of Protective this year, it's like, dude, just go back to Canton. Ball is snapped. They hand it off to McCreary, who gets about 1.5 yards on the carry. Not great, but it is what it is. Memphis won't draw fans. They are the ultimate alternative football graveyard. I've said it before, it was the 3-year rule. This is year 3 for Memphis. They need to see some improvement, and if they don't get any improvement this back half of the season, it's pretty tough to justify it. Is Bryce Perkins MVP already? It would be, at this point in the season, it would be shocking for somebody to beat him, because head-to-head against Teamu, barring a massive comeback, he outplayed Teamu by a decent margin, and it'd be pretty hard. Like, if Ajeen Harris's interception against DC had resulted in the win, he would have a legit argument. Because it didn't, at this point, it's pretty much Perkins. Because you can blame all the losses on Danny Etling. Perkins runs, gets to the 40, gets to the 45, gets to the 50-yard line. Gets to the 45 and gets taken down at about the 45-yard line. Huge run for Bryce Perkins. Again, speaking of him being an MVP guy, massive game for Bryce Perkins right there. Because, like, the big thing is that the loss against St. Louis, a lot of that can be put on Danny Etling. The loss to Birmingham was a lot on special teams. So, yeah. What's up, Zomb dropping in? Holy. What's up, T-Dog? Yeah, I know we were talking about it. Michigan, they're looking like the best. What happened is Bryce Perkins isn't just the best QB in the league. He's the best QB by a country mile. He has been dominating this game. I mean, it's insane. Ball is snapped. Perkins looks over to his right. I mean, Perkins is number 5 on trending. Throws. It is caught by Cole Hicatini. Gets at 25. Bryce Perkins is number 5 on trending. Is Perkins going to go to the NFL? We saw Adrian Martinez get there because of it. I would assume that he probably gets another NFL shot with how he's playing. He's number 5 on trending. I mean, it's insane how good he's been. I can tell you by looking at the score. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said on Friday. If Michigan dominated DC, we've got a new team at number 1 that ain't DC, and my God, this has been insane. I mean, Perkins' stat line, I'll pull it up once we're in the commercial break. It's absurd what he's doing this game. 6 minutes left. 1st and 10. Ball is snapped. Handed off. Toa gets to the 20. The 15. The 10 gets tackled at about the 5-yard line. He just kept going. Again, any score here, all but is the final nail in the coffin. Game over for DC. This is insane. Perkins is magical. I wouldn't be shocked if he somehow jumps up to 4 on trending. What team do you see getting Bryce? I could see a team get a QB that gets injured, get him, or the Rams, because the Rams did have him before with Sean McVay. I wouldn't be too shocked if they brought him in as like a backup QB. It's looking like that might be the championship matchup, Panthers Battlehawks. It looks like that could be for sure. This Panthers team with just Perkins in is insane. Handed off, and he gets about 1.5 yards on the gain. I'd like to mention beautiful matchup. They're calling it a fumble. They're not blowing it dead. DC has the ball. There is a flag. So this is either going to be a touchdown for DC or something. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see if that's called a fumble. I don't think it was. We'll see. Oh, this ain't looking good for Michigan, but there is a flag. This could be bad for DC as well. Could just be a fumble. We'll see. Do you stream NFL games? I stream like one every couple of weeks. I might go to streaming at least one college or NFL game per week during the season. That's what I'm probably planning to do. That's what I said for this game. Lol. Panthers played so good. DC was due for a pullback game, though. Not surprised they fought today. I would say that, but they like just had one 2 weeks ago. Like, this is a really tough game for DC to take. They're in the command center. They're still looking at us, but yeah. This power rankings video that is going to be next week is going to... Yeah. Right now, 1 and 2 are the only easy ones. 1 Michigan, 2 St. Louis. Everything else, I have no idea. He was definitely down. Yeah, it looks like that will be called just down, so yeah. Second goal. That's what I'd say. The T-Dog, I'd say 1 and 2 are easy. I said that the only way Michigan jumps over St. Louis is if they dominate DC, which they have. That's 1 and 2. Everyone else, no idea. Touchdown, Panthers. I mean, it's important to note that that win was a lot because of Etling playing. And the fact is that this win is... This is the most impressive win of the season. This was the number 1 team in the league getting dog-walked by Michigan. It's almost impossible to not put them at number 1. Like I said in that video, if they just beat DC by like a field goal, St. Louis is still number 1. But this is dominating the best team in the league heading into this week. And yes, you could say it's a pullback game for sure. But with how this one is, it's just 1 and 2 are obvious to me, and everything else is tough. I have no idea who gets the 3 spot. Panthers are going for 2 here. Perkins is in shotgun, 1 man behind him to his right. Ball is snapped, handed off. And he gets the 2-point conversion. It is 38-14. We just broke the record this season for most overall. Yeah, I know a lot of people do it head-to-head. I've always viewed that head-to-head works for me when it's a close race. It's just like I said, like, this is the kind of win to me where you just can't argue who's number one. Because at the end of the day, whereas I'm not going to lie, St. Louis did outplay Arlington overall. The fact is that was a close win. Whereas this one, I mean, oh my goodness. Michigan, like, I picked DC to win. I said there's no reason Michigan should have been favorites in this game. And then they did this, like, oh my god. I mean, this is insane. Stats for Bryce Perkins in this game are 7 of 10 for one. Is that updated? 13 of 18 for 188, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's a 72.2 passer rating for a 142.8 rating. And he has 9 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown. Oh my goodness. Absolutely insane. The most points by a single team this season, it's insane. Last message. Bryce Perkins, Lamar, and drugs. It is, I mean, dude, this has been insane. I know the Michigan haters are like, oh, man. No one going to bench Bryce now? Okay. This is an insane game. The power rankings, oh my gosh. Number 3, I have no idea. I want the championship to be Battlehawks, Panthers, and St. Louis. That would be a great game. I mean, you've had 2 matchups. They're 1-1 against each other. Historically, they've both been close games that have, you know, questionable stuff like. So that would be a great championship game for sure. Would love to see that be the championship game. Reed will be a Michigan hater. I almost forgot about that guy. Almost did. Yeah, if San Antonio sticks above 10K, I'd be shocked in a pleasantly surprised way. Just because you would imagine with all these losses it hurt them, but if they're still good in attendance, like, oh man, that's so impressive. Because this game is in Birmingham, then 3 of their last 4 in San Antonio. Can't wait for Mike Nolan to start Danny Etling in the championship. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's a tough call. I'd say St. Louis, Michigan's up there. Birmingham versus DC. And I don't know who I'd pick third one. Like, Houston could pull it off, and Arlington still could. It's just like, I think it's Birmingham versus Arlington or DC, or it's going to be Michigan versus Battlehawks is probably what I'd pick, honestly. Because I got that feeling that if Birmingham makes it to the championship, it's going to be the same way in the XFL where, like, the team like Arlington or them get it. But, yeah. It would be wild, but they got Marcus Sims. They signed Davin Bellamy. Jalen McClendon has been, at worst, the 4th best QB in the league since he started. You've got a really good QB there with Houston, so we'll see. It was a garbage dump league. USFL is the gold standard. Yeah, the USFL was the gold standard. The original USFL was for sure. And it is down at about the 33-yard line. The better legacy is the USFL just because the 80s version legitimately was pro football. Like, you had so many guys go to the NFL and dominate in the NFL. It's actually just stupid. I mean, you had multiple Hall of Famers, and including coaches, right? You had a lot of coaches go on to be Hall of Famers, including, like, GMs and presidents and stuff. So, it's pretty hard to not put it. Not that. Did Reed think the XFL had better legacy? Okay. If that's why you're saying ripping on Reed, that's wild. Yeah, I completely forgot about that guy existing, but 1st and 10 for the DC Defenders. 2 receivers on both sides of the ball. Ball is snapped. Teamu looks to his right, throws, and it is literally to nobody. It looked like a broken play for Abram Smith and all that. Oh, man, this game is something else. 400 yards of offense for Michigan is absolutely insane. Teamu literally started so good, and he's down to like a 57 completion percentage. Reed thinks the XL is a better legacy. If you're saying overall XFL, USFL, it's not even close. The 80s USFL does so much lifting. Passes thrown by Teamu. Incomplete, just a slightly overthrown pass once again. With their head coach plus some slips that they made win-lose. Hey, it's wild that Houston's still in it. It's all because of the fact that they're kind of getting hot at the right time. Now, yes, the asterisk is it's against Memphis twice and San Antonio once. But the game against Birmingham was like a one-touchdown game. So, hey, if you just get one lucky win over Birmingham in the rematch, they might just somehow sneak in. And hey, it's like they say, it's one Sunday, right? Any given Sunday. Teamu drops back, rolls to his right. He's going to run for it. Missed ankle tackle, but got him in that one. It's going to be tackled at about the 44-yard line. There's a flag. This probably is on DC for unnecessary roughness, because that one hit that you would imagine was definitely like still early for the Panthers, so let's see. I saw someone in the comments saying that Alabama to see the billboard advertising Stallions, but the question, why aren't there a lot of people in attendance when Birmingham is playing? It is a good question. Birmingham has been so disappointing in that aspect, but I think it's because there's just not too, like, yes, a billboard is great, but you probably need a bit more than that. Like, if I go to my local gas station during the season, I'll see, like, a Panthers schedule on the wall, like that kind of thing. Unnecessary roughness on the offense, what I expected to see. They kind of tried to defend their QB when their quarterback took a hit that he was, expected to hit for that, but yeah. At least modern. Modern-wise, if you just talk 2020 beyond, probably because of the fact that 2020 XL is so good, I would say that. Finally caught up, Supcar. Absolutely insane game. Michigan somehow has just been annihilating DC. They're playing like the best team in the league. Teamu hasn't been... I mean, Teamu looked good in the first quarter. He made a couple big throws, but that's about it. Bryce Perkins has been like top 5 trending for like a third of the game at this point. He's still top 6 now. That's insane. I want Michigan versus St. Louis championship. Those teams hate each other. That would be an incredible championship. I would love for that one for sure. Teamu rushes up. Throws it. It is going to be caught. But there's a flag caught at the 50 to the 45. First time not Birmingham. That is the number 1 team. That's true in the USFL conference. Birmingham's not going to be the number 1 team in that conference anymore. That is wild. Cook is just starting, but Andrew is going to get some playing time for sure. Well, Panthers Battlehawks will be a championship game. They don't play again this season, but if they do make it to the championship game, that would be an incredible matchup for sure. Yeah, if that's the championship game, I might be upset that I'm not going, but is what it is. 1st and 20 because of the holding penalty. 2 minutes, 44 seconds left. We're getting to that borderline point where if DC doesn't do something here, they might even just kneel the game out. Let's see. Was a Guardian season ticket holder. The Guardians. That was back when they were in New York, right? Classic uniforms. I say back in New York, like I don't have a Colburn game used jersey from that game, from that team. Definitely a good logo. I did like that logo and color scheme better than the Orlando Guardians, though, honestly. Ball is snapped. Teamu looks to his left. Throws. It is caught, but it bounces up in the air and almost intercepted. This is a massacre. Ain't that the truth? Especially if that's the championship game in St. Louis, a home game for the championship. Like, not even close. Yeah, this game has been just insane. I mean, I meant Panthers versus Arlington. Yeah, that's going to be a good game. It should be, because Arlington needs to bounce back from what they did this past week for sure. Like, this is what the difference is from an elite quarterback to, like, a great quarterback. Like, this season, there's this many elite quarterbacks. And it's Bryce Perkins. And then you got, like, it's like I tweeted out. You got Bryce Perkins, Teamu, McClendon Perez, everybody else that has question marks. Yeah, the fact that Michigan broke their attendance record again, I mean, like, seriously, like, there's no team more impressive than them this season. Like, it's not that they broke their attendance record, like, once. They did it the very next week, and then their 4th home game did it again. Like, that's 3 of 4 games they have broken their records. That's absolutely insane. Just wild. Imagine Michigan's a growing market for the league, 100%. The Jake Bates thing helped, but this team being such a fun team to watch with a great quarterback like Bryce Perkins is also great. Bryce Perkins is more than a lead. He's the second coming of God. USFL 2022 is a dark horse. That was a good league. That was a good year. That Case Cookus year, man. It's a shame so many people didn't remember how good he was, or J.R. Smith. Yeah, Michigan has been such a great market this year. I mean, I expected them to grow, but even I didn't think they were going to be this much better. Like, it's important to note that in 2024, right, last season, they had 2 games that hit 9,000. Neither of them broke 9,500. All 4 of their games have broken 9,500 this season. Like, that's stupid. Like, in a good way, but that's just stupid. So, you love to see that. Yeah, hopefully get some improvement from other teams, especially Memphis and Houston, because those 2 markets have been really rough. Like, Houston, it's like what Ace was saying earlier in the season. He said that everybody's complaint was they were in Rice Stadium. They got moved back to TDECU, and the attendance has gotten worse. Like, that's inexcusable. Because at the end of the day, this is a better team than they were last year, and it's still bad. Kind of interesting that the Roughnecks was 0-2 last year against Memphis, even though Memphis was terrible 2-0 this year, but Memphis doing better now. It is wild how that works out, right? Memphis was so bad last year, yet they beat Houston twice. Yet this year, it's like both times you kind of thought Memphis would get the win. They didn't get it either time. You remember that there is another UFL game on today. It is probably the single least hyped up game in the entire season. But the Stallions are, in fact, playing the Brahmas in Birmingham later today at 4 o'clock EST. Won't be streaming that game, but that game is going to go on. Attendance was 11,600. The Panthers have broken their record for attendance for the 3rd time this season, breaking the record they set back in week 3 of like 1101. So huge for Michigan. That market's been incredible this year. And of course, Bryce Perkins, I mean, he is... The odds for him being MVP after this game are going to be something like insanely stupid. I mean, seriously, what he's done today, close to a perfect passer rating, almost... Like, he's less than 30 yards away from 100 on the ground. I mean, like, my goodness. Been insane. BM better be 12K. I don't think it's going to be 12K, but I hope. We can hope, but we don't know. Panthers, Battlehawks most likely for sure. Yeah, with how good that team is, they should be doing good, but is what it is. Teamu throws to the right. It is caught. Rowland goes out of bounds about the 26. Dude. Chris Rowland has been incredible, and that's about it for this team. Like, Teamu's been what he normally is, but Chris Rowland, man, he's been having a great game for sure. Yeah, championship rematch. That is true. That is a championship rematch today. Yeah, if the Stallions do over 10K, I'd say successful considering how they do normally. Like, they need to draw at least 10K. They need to bounce back from their last home game. 3rd and 12 for DC. Insane blowout. This is so wild. A 24-point blowout. Ball is snapped. Teamu looks over the middle, rolls to his right. Throws over his back, and he gets a catch, and it's going to be a 1st down. And it looks 11K or so, legit number for once. That would be great to see. DC and Arlington look washed. Well, Arlington, it just looks like every game is just something insanely close that shouldn't be close, and that's what's really aggravating about them. But DC, man, this was a bad game. Because this is 2 of 3 games where they lost to a San Antonio team they should have beat. They did pull off a comeback against an Arlington questionable team, but yeah. Yeah, all I know is power ranking is going to be rough. 1 and 2 is easy, and then everything else is going to be tough. If San Antonio loses, then at least 8 and 7 are easy, but then the rest of it, like 3 to 6, is going to be so rough. I would still say not fully yet. If Michigan does this again next week, I'd say for sure. But I got to see one more week of this. Number 1 right now is Michigan because of the fact they've dominated DC, and then number 2 is St. Louis because of obvious reasons. I would still say that there's no truly dominant number 1 team yet, though. I will not be covering the next game. I will not be covering that one. But, of course, the game will be on, I believe it's on ESPN, just like this one was, at 4 o'clock EST. Yeah, number 1 is the Panthers. Like I said on Friday that if Michigan barely beat DC, I'd keep St. Louis, keep them ahead. But because of the fact that that game against St. Louis has the asterisk of Bryce getting benched in it, the fact that St. Louis's offense did look really weak against Arlington, and the fact that this has been just a clinic, to me it's kind of hard to not put Michigan at 1. And then number 2 is St. Louis. I think it's pretty clear St. Louis number 2. It is on Fox. Okay, nice. Thank you for that no hack. I forgot which game. which one that one was on, because when they changed the one thing, I was like, man, I don't know which game, but yeah, that is correct, I believe, yeah. Yeah, regular Fox at 4. Nice, nice, nice. But yeah, the St. Louis defense is solid, but I mean, even this Michigan defense against this DC team, I mean, DC's team, for how, wild they are, they haven't been held to this few points, like, at all this season. Every other game, they've been much better, so the defenders are still insane right here. So it's hard for me to, like, not give credit to the Panthers team, but again, the top 2 teams are the top 2, then 3, 4, 5, and 6, oh my goodness. And if San Antonio upsets Birmingham, it's going to be wild. Tayama goes for a deep Hail Mary pass that is incomplete. That is game over. Not even a fight. Oh my goodness. Wild. Absolutely wild game right there. Bryce Perkins still number 6 trending. Not even a game. Oh my goodness. Just utter domination in this one. I mean, seriously, absolutely wild what just happened in this game. Just tweeting out real quick. Absolutely wild game. Roughnecks aren't bad. That's what I mean where it's so hard to, like, where would I rank Houston? Like, how much credit do I give Houston for beating the Showboats and the Brahmas? But they kept it close against Birmingham, so I don't know exactly where it goes. Panthers is the easiest schedule for the rest of the season. Yeah, because they still got, like, Houston twice, and they got, like, so they still got that, which is definitely helpful for them, but it could be tough for sure, though. Renegades and Stallions looks tough. It's tough, but I think there's a few other teams that are harder. Good job. Thank you, Bloomy. But there's a couple other games that are hard, though. Number 1 team gets strong now. True. Because, let's see. The Renegades have Michigan's. The Renegades have a relatively easy one. They have the Showboats. Well, not really. They have about the same level of difficulty, I would say. St. Louis has Memphis, San Antonio at home. That's relatively easy, but again, it's still 2 of the easier teams right there, so not insane. Birmingham has San Antonio, Houston, Memphis. Birmingham has the easiest schedule, I'd say, remaining right now. I'd say that's probably the easiest of, like, the contending teams. That's probably the easiest one. Because DC, you could argue that because of the fact that they have St. Louis at home and Arlington at home, which would be their 2 tough matchups. So, yeah, I would say it's one of those ones. That's what I would probably say. Thanks for doing these. Hey, no problem. These are always fun to do, and this was a really good one. This was a great game, and absolutely insane how much of a blowout this ended up being. I mean, Bryce Perkins has truly blossomed onto the scene. Absolutely insane. I mean, really. What a wild game. This is going to be something else, but this is a great one. Again, power rankings video tomorrow at 6 is going to be a tough one to make. 1 and 2 for me, no matter what happens, are set in stone. It's Michigan and St. Louis 1 and 2. Number 8, if San Antonio gets the win, it's going to be Memphis. If not, it's going to be them. So it'll be a tough one. So, again, next stream will be next Friday. Again, I'll have a vote for the community heroes because I don't believe there's a technical tank bowl, even though there's no really terrible teams. Let me just check to make sure. Week 6, Memphis versus Houston. We're literally in Week 6. Thank you for pulling this up. Week 7, we have not a tank bowl. So, we don't have a tank bowl next week, so I'll put up a regularly scheduled community hero poll for next week's game. So, we'll find out which one of those ones we do, but yeah. We got our first win against a team with wins. It's true. This is a big one for Michigan. They need to get this one. Again, see y'all. So, good night, everybody. Again, if you enjoyed this, make sure to like this stream. Subscribe if you haven't already. Think about becoming a community member for 99 cents a month to get exclusive video, team emojis, all that kind of stuff. And as always, guys,